We're live. Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be playing a unit bands tournament. I will be participating myself. You can see the bracket over there. And the way this works, it's going to be a normal Warhammer tournament, except both players get to ban 2 units from each other's factions. So I'm personally quite excited for it. As usual, if you want to skip ahead to the battles, you can. After the stream is done, of course, using the timestamps down below. And I'm pretty sure that's everything I needed to go over. I'm also testing out new 1440p resolution, so things might be a little bit more crisp. So hopefully it looks good. I see we got lots of people in chat. And let's see here. Yeah, we got Jupiter saying first. We got a second, a third. Yeah, we got 6K subs, Kelligar. It's insane. It's actually insane. The push for 15K so that we can get so that we can become CA members is continuing. Hopefully we'll be able to get there soon. Fingers crossed. All right. All right. So, we're up against the High Elves. You see 1080p? Alright, maybe it's just a YouTube streaming thing, but the VOD might be super high quality. Alternatively, it might just be my recording that's higher quality, but, you know, we'll... I almost said we'll see, but you know, I'll be experimenting a bit. Anyways, so for the Phoenix King, he's playing as High Elves, I'm playing as Dwarves, so I need to figure out what units I actually want to ban from his list. Let's see, it says starting first with the person banning first. All right, I need to update that real quick then. Ah, I see. It's a leftover from the previous system. For anyone who's playing in the tournament, it's going to be top bracket is the person that bans first. All right. Alternating. Starting with the top bracket. There we go. All right. Now, guys, what do you think is going to be good here to ban from the High Elf side? We could knock out their chariots. Probably a pretty good idea. We can hit the White Lion chariots and we can hit the Noble chariots, which already limits our options quite a bit. Potentially we could go for some sort of mass infantry style and not have to worry about that. Alternatively, we take out their flying targets. You know, great eagles are pretty annoying and would be really nice to not have to deal with. Although Alariel would of course still be in the air, which of course is a little bit scary. We could also knock out their infantry, swordmasters, and White Lions of Trace. Probably the best idea. So we'll do ban White Lions. There we go. I'm feeling pretty good about this already. And I sort of have a theory that the dwarves are gonna be amazing in this format. Yeah, I hate nobles and birds. Well, for dwarves, those are pretty annoying against their infantry and gyrocopters, but maybe we'll go more of a standard style of play. Alright. Just checking out chat real quick. Chariots and White Lions, and you're pretty golden. The thing is, I can't hit all the chariots. So I'm thinking probably just the 2 anti-infantry guys. And then everything else can sort of build around that, right? If the High Elf don't have infantry, you know, I'm feeling pretty set. You know, he might go for some single entities, but that shouldn't really be too scary. He's going to ban Thunderers. Okay, interesting choice. I guess my second one is going to be Swordmasters. All right, there we go. And I'm feeling super comfortable now. Let's see if we can start building, and we'll see what his second ban is. Yeah, I was thinking 1 chariot and 1 noble, but banning White Lions and Swordmasters is hilarious. Which type? Formal or Great Weapon? So in this format, the units, they count for different things. He's going to ban the normal slayers. Okay, so that means we're going to be a little bit more susceptible to archers. We don't have thunderers either, but overall I'm feeling pretty good about my odds. You know, honestly, I'd mostly just be worried about, I guess, maybe like a mass kite build or something. The map is Estalian Tomb also, so it should be. Let's see. Yeah, it should be all right. It's a pretty short map too, so I guess bolt throwers aren't too scary. And if he doesn't have elite infantry, what could he possibly bring that we're really worried about, right? We should have a really nice early infantry start. Yeah, I know, 6k. 6k, it felt like just the other day when I was excited about, you know, like 2k. Oh my goodness, yeah. But alright, we gotta get into the zone, guys. He banned Thunderers. What type of crazy build is he going to go for? I feel like if he goes for any sort of rush, he's in for a really bad time. Why would he ban Thunderers though? That's so strange. Potentially he wants to try and knock out my anti-large, but I feel like I have more than enough of that, so feeling pretty comfortable. And we both have access to all of our lords too, so potentially there's some shenaniganry going on there. Maybe he'll even go for a hero squad, who knows? An Air Force? Well, an Air Force I would say is still a bit risky, unfortunately, as he can he can still bring a lot of anti-air in this case. But sort of the build that I have going right now feels like a pretty safe bet. Possibly just a few more units and then I should be good to go. I should be good to go in theory. I guess if he goes for a ton of chariots, you know, maybe we would run into some issues here. Like I said, a mass sort of kite army would be pretty annoying, but not impossible to deal with by any means. But I think I have what I sort of what I'm happy with here. This overall looks pretty good. Maybe a couple weaknesses I'm a tiny bit worried about, but maybe not. I don't know. This dwarf build looks pretty good, so I guess the only thing left is to try it out. He banned Thunderers and Slayers. All right, let's try it. Let's try it. Probably a Chariot Alariel blob if he banned Thunderers. Honestly, I feel like Thunderers aren't that good against Chariots. You can actually you can engage them pretty quickly. And then that usually causes some issues. I feel like I have more than enough anti-chariot defense though. Just a ton of you know, very heavy infantry that should slow them down. And I should have enough to deal with the high elf kite style too. But we'll have to see. We will have to see. I'm feeling pretty confident though. So all that's left is to simply try it out. Now for the bracket, let's go ahead and take a look. We got some pretty familiar names here. We got Rusty, Artisan Tech Priest, Dr. Jellyfish, Sleepy Lion, Dr. I don't know. I always think Dr. Kowalski, but that is not what their name is. Winterwind, and even Human Boy. Human Boy actually being a streamer that frequently casts my tournaments, the Gold League tournaments for the Rank League champions. So do check him out if you haven't already. But yeah, so how do you guys feel about this format? Do you feel like it is very favored for some factions? Obviously factions with the very, you know, with very limited rosters will have a bit of a hard time. But I feel like overall, a lot of factions should be a lot more viable. At least while we're still sort of figuring out the meta. By the way, this build, it's gonna be a fun one. I got triple Giant Slayers here, and then I have tons of Quarrelers. It's an old school dwarf build. Fit for Thorek. There's no powder in here. And I should be able to hold the front line really easily. Like, no high elf infantry, I think, should be able to beat my Longbeards. You can see his army is extremely small too, which means we can probably afford to go pretty wide. You know, if he's just going to try and rush me down with chariots, we have slayers sprinkled essentially everywhere, covered by my quarrelers, so I'm honestly not too afraid. We have slows on Thorek too. We got the Rune of Wrath and Ruin to hit the archers, and the Balance of Power also loves us, so I think we're in a good place. Let's see, you're saying you've been watching old VODs while taking care of your baby. Oh, by the way, congratulations when your wife's at work. Glad to catch a live stream. Yeah, I always like, it always feels like I get a little bit more community interaction. Oh, this is a weird build. It feels like I get more community interaction by live streaming. You know, at this point, it's difficult to keep up with YouTube comments and so on. So it's always nice to have these every once in a while. And we are actually streaming, you know, every other what's it? Twice a week. There we go. Now, he does have some chariots. They're not going to be especially scary. He's dodging with his infantry to make sure that the quarrelers are not too scary. That's going to be a nice play from him. At the moment, there's a lot of focus fire from these bolt throwers, which could be pretty gnarly, but it seems like I am able to at least push away the chariots at the start of the battle. Looks like they might actually dive in towards my forces a bit, and at the moment I'm just dodging with the slayers to make sure that they stay fairly safe. As for the chariots, it looks like they're going in for another dive onto my infantry. They should be able to hold just fine. And against the rangers, they're anti-armored. I don't think my dwarf warriors are going to be too worried about that anytime soon. So let's go ahead and throw down a nasty AoE on top of those rangers. And then get my quarrelers to, I guess, focus fire one of the great eagles. That should be fairly fine for me. Now, one thing I do not want to do, I definitely don't want to overextend with my forces here, as if I'm not careful, these chariots will pick apart my infantry. So instead, I'm just going to sort of sit back, make sure that my formations are nice and defended and sort of stuck together, and then I would feel, and then I'd be pretty confident about my odds here. Now, the rangers are going to be a little bit scary versus my slayers, but the slayers are pretty mobile, so I think I can play keep away fairly effectively there. These chariots too just haven't been able to jump on anything because of the slayers, and we are actually starting to push through into the back lines. So I think I'll take one unit of giant slayers to sort of deal with the back over there. I'll take this one unit of longbeards to start pushing out too. And even though I said I didn't want to get split apart earlier, now that the infantry is actually starting to rout off, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now. And there we go, we have rangers on the run. My guys can start pushing up, and my infantry, I'll leave a few units back just to defend these quarrelers. Just one more unit of rangers to rout. They should go down pretty quickly. And once the bolt throwers are down, my slayers essentially are not going to have any threats. So we'll go ahead and grab Thorek, position him dead center in the middle of my army to make sure that everyone is nice and safe. And then for Alarielle, she might actually decide to dive on in. So let's go ahead and give her a good old slow and focus fire with quarrelers. These chariots too, barely able to get any value. You can see the huge benefits that you get from not having to worry about the frontline infantry fight. And I'm also paying close attention to make sure I don't overextend with my slayers too, as for most dwarf players, they'll let you know that it is extremely important to make sure that your slayers are actually stuck with your infantry. Also pull away those dwarf warriors just to get them to a little bit of a safer position. The longbeards can take it from there. And in the meantime, we have all of the bolt throwers going down, so very good. Alarielle, the focus fire from the quarrelers, doing great. Man, that slow lasts forever. She's still getting slowed down, and she might actually go down. Let's take a look. Oh, hey, there we go. She actually gets shattered off the battlefield, which means that things are looking very good for us now. This unit of longbeards is going to go down, but look at this. We still have tons of quarrelers. We got the slayers. I'm feeling like we have the win. All right. So how do you guys feel about this so far? I feel like, you know, maybe we're just going to dwarf main it up for this entire tournament. They feel pretty good when you can just, you know, annihilate the hard counters that you're so used to dealing with. Really fun thing too, the Bugmans have charge defense against large. So these chariots actually barely do any damage to them on the approach. It's great. Alright, so let's just finish the game at this point. All the high elf units are routed off. We just need a little bit of focus fire and we're good. Serves Alarielle, right? Yeah. After years of tormenting the dwarves with her tempests and her healing and so on, we finally get some swift revenge. Oh my gosh, it feels so good to finally get a win with dwarves. Honestly, I feel like it's been over a year since I've won with dwarves against high elves. I feel like that might actually not be an exaggeration. It's crazy. And there we go. There's the army losses. End game number 1. Won by ourselves. Very nice. All right. So now we just have to move on to the second match against the Phoenix King. If we can win that, then we'll move up in the bracket. Feels imba against until the meta gets figured out. That is true. Right now it mostly it very much favors players with a lot of sort of game knowledge, but wow, look at that range damage. Oh my gosh. I was playing a campaign run recently actually, and these values are very campaign-esque, I gotta say. The Slayer is doing great too. Did these even pay for themselves? Only 2 of them. So quite nice. Quite nice. Alright, Phoenix King. What do you have next for me? Yeah, the slow on Alarielle. Amazing. That's really, really Thoric's bread and butter, that rune of slowness. I don't even know if I could have probably bought a rune lord, but you know, whatever. Grudge ungrudged. Yes, but it is only a single grudge. There are many more that we'll have to redeem this day. Alright. Nice, Phoenix King. Giving the good old no skill faction for the dwarves. Classic. Very, very classic. But what will he go next? Perhaps he will play the dwarves if he thinks they are strong. Perhaps he will avoid them. I can imagine the feud between the high elves and the dwarves run very deep. But I think I'm ready for whatever he throws at me. I'd like to try out a lot of underdog factions today. Like, you know, things like maybe some Bretonia action. That could be really fun. In this tournament today, variants don't count as the same. Salty King. Yes. But let's see. Let's see. What other underdog factions are... Oh, Norska? We could play Norska, guys. Now, that might be a terrible idea, because Norska, they don't run into issues with hard counters. That's sort of the problem there. Maybe Dark Elves? They're a little bit of an underdog. Not by that much, though. Honestly, I'm not sure. You know, maybe go with Crooked Moon. Okay. Okay, maybe not that type of underdog. Although that would be hilarious. Alright, so we got Wood Elves and Dark Elves. The map is Altdorf Outskirts. Remember to change map, by the way. Alright, so what do we want to play against Wood Elves and Dark Elves? Of course, Bretonia is like the classic, right? We have tons of cavalry too, which will make things pretty annoying for them. Dark Elves with a Medusa? Okay, you guys are just memeing at this point. You guys are just asking for things to go terribly. Let's see, I feel like a no hard counter sort of style here is what I would like to do. Well, Crooked Moon is not, I guess they're not terrible, but you know, we're up 1 game. I don't want to just start memeing on my opponent. That seems a little bit rude. Now, Bretonia is the obvious pick here, right? Clearly he has some sort of idea to try and counter Bretonia, though. I'm thinking, you know, maybe some High Elf action would be pretty fun. You know, a little bit of High Elf. You know what? Oh man, High Elves is really tempting, but... You know what? I'll go, okay, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'll go Vampire Coast. I'll go Coast. The one comment in chat, you've convinced me. We gotta get one game in there. Let's see what he counters with. Now this is a pretty bad matchup for Vampire Coast usually. So it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect because we get to ban some units. We get to get rid of their most annoying guys. It looks like he's going to go for a Dark Elf pick, alright. And he's going to be the first one banning. But what will he ban? Perhaps the dreaded bombers of the Vampire Coast? That would probably be a good idea. Alternatively, he could ban, he could ban my gunnery wights, which are also quite scary, I will say. The thing about Wood Elves too, because we can't ban variants, he actually has a ton of different options there. But maybe, maybe if we just hit their infantry where it hurts. Maybe if we just delete Dryads, then we'll be okay. Alright, he's going to go Wood Elves, and he's going to ban Sirens first. A very interesting choice here. Maybe he's getting rid of my magic damage, I'm not sure. What do we have here? The archers are more or less unbannable. I feel like banning the Sylvan Knights, though, is a pretty good idea. Ban bloated corpses? Ooh, if he bans my dogs, that would be interesting. So I'm thinking the double cavalry pick, get rid of the Glade Riders and the Sylvan Knights. That would be pretty good. And then that would sort of turn this matchup into how it was before the update, which would be quite nice actually. Let's see. He'll have tons of archers, which is a little bit scary, but should be good. What is something lagging on YouTube? I hope not. I hope not. Stream's going very well today. Let's see. I'll ban the Stag Knights. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, don't spam chat too much, or we're gonna have to call the mods on you. I have no idea what you're talking about here. Do we have any mods in the chat, by the way? I guess we do have Bowmore. I trust you to keep an eye on that. But okay, so we banned the Stag Knights. I think my second ban probably going to be the Glade Riders. And then after that, we'll have a very standard Vampire Coast game against Wood Elves. Of course, the matchup was more favored when Coast was, very, very, just a way stronger than they are right now. But I feel like I should still have it in me. You could go for some crazy Wild Rider type of play. Orion Rush, perhaps. Alternatively, the classic Mass Archer is very popular. Let's see. I guess there's not too much else that I would really be scared about, right? He did ban Sirens though, which does take out one of my favorite units, but actually not one that you would usually bring in this matchup anyways. I feel like he'll probably ban bombers though. That's like a very safe bet. Just dropping in to give a compliment. Thank you. Very good stream so far. Yeah, it seems to be doing really nice. Oh, and he bans the dogs. What a madman. All right, we're down our dogs, but we can ban his Glade Riders. Glade Rider ban. All right, melee. All right, so let's go ahead and try it out. He's banned my dogs, and he's banned, let's see here. He banned the dogs, and he banned Sirens. So that means that a rush is pretty weak. Mass gunline styles are very fun though. So I'm saying Moringal stock rush. I haven't really ran Moringals in a while. Yes, the Queen Bess. Man, I really, I wish I could bring Queen Bess more, but, it always feels so risky. Maybe it's just me, though. You have a rules question? Shoot it my way. Yeah, you're in the tournament, actually, so yeah. I'm here. Let's see. What do you do in the tiebreaker round? Oh, oops. Tiebreaker is pick 3, as expected. Unit banding is very cool. The main downside is that it makes a pick and ban phase last even longer. Yeah, that is true. At least the tournament isn't too big today, although we actually had quite a few players sign up. By quite a few, I mean like we actually had a really good sign up today, especially given that it's sort of the middle of the week or the beginning. Let's see. Oh wait, just doing some moderation. If any of my mods can check out the Discord too, that would be very helpful. But okay, let's talk builds here, right? We have a few good options. Let's see. I feel like a rush is pretty nice. That's probably the most standard thing to do, right? But what type of rush? There's a few good options for sure. Host more during the weekend, please. You can't play it during the week. Oh, come on. The last tournament was during the weekend. I do plan to be hosting again on like Sunday or Saturday of this weekend. So you will have that to look forward to. Alright, I think I have a pretty nice build here, guys. I believe I have a pretty nice build. Alright, so one of the tournament players, apparently someone accidentally brought a banned lord, and I have to try and figure out what to do in that situation. I guess if they bring a banned lord, what? Because it wouldn't really make sense for them to pick a new lord, because then that's sort of an advantage for them. Let's see here. They have to take the cheapest lord with no abilities or items. Okay, there we go. All right, so I think that's more or less good. Let's go ahead and jump into the battle and see how this goes. The jacket looks sick. Oh, thank you. It's just a very old jacket. There's nothing special about it. It's more or less my pajama clothes. Depth guard rush? That would be insane. Oh man, I wish depth guard were better. I really wish they were, but what can you do? Oh man. Fun stream, dude. See you next time. All right. See ya, Paul. I don't know if you're still watching, but see ya. And all right, we are diving on in. We're up one game. Will we be able to defeat our opponent? He's banned our sirens and he's banned our dogs. Two very important units when it comes to Vampire Coast play. But I don't think it's the sort of... I think we can still work around it. For our opponent, we banned out a lot of his mobility, and especially the Stag Knights means that we don't have to worry about magic damage like we usually would in this matchup. So that's a very strong lead for us. But what build do we actually have to show for today? It's a pretty classic build, and actually a very old school build that I think I saw like super early on in the Vampire Coast meta. It's a Moringal rush with bombers and deck droppers in the sky. This build, usually first of all, you can't do this because of the Sylvan Knights. They pose a little bit too much of a problem. Another thing is that well, it can... Well, actually, no, that's about it. With the Sylvan Knights gone, it's really nice. Especially with the lack of cavalry. If it's all wild riders, it makes them very expensive. And back in the day, before the Wood Elves actually got their update, wild riders would get pretty easily countered by, you know, sort of by deck droppers in the air. So I'm planning to use those guys as my pseudo dogs here. I have Noctilus, he has his usual kit, tons of summons, and we're gonna be rushing. We're going to be rushing him, his very small army count, and hopefully it goes all right. If he goes for a mass cavalry rush too, the fact that I have all these deck droppers should work out pretty well. He's given the good luck have fun, so let's see what army he has, and it's going to be It's going to be a standard, you know, sort of mass archer style here. Now he might have some stealth units, perhaps Drycha, hiding in the forests. Noctilus should be able to do at least decently against her, so that's not too worrying, and it's actually going to be a full kite style of play. So pretty easy to deal with. All we got to do is go ahead and grab the bats, move along to the flank with them, change my mind because that's actually a pretty bad idea, and instead just try and get engaged on these guys as fast as possible. I want the Moringles to sort of just lead the charge here, to disrupt these the high elf or the wood elf formation as much as I can. Get the Moringles in there and mostly just try to keep them safe. A few shots coming in on the flank, and actually I'm going to do a bit of a deny flank here. I don't really need to engage that just yet, and I can focus on picking off units over here. Drycha is going to be a little bit annoying, but I should be getting pretty good trades so far. The bats just constantly picking away the wild riders. Definitely very annoying. Getting in tons of damage. The Moringles on the flank doing great for themselves. And you can see how good these pistol bats actually are. Just doing a lot of damage to the cavalry. Oh my goodness. They specialize in anti-armor. Or no, in killing light armored units. So overall, it's a pretty nice time for them. These guys, I'm going to send in some sacrificial bombers to chase off the wood elf infantry to make sure that they can't harass my sort of deck droppers as much. And with a little bit of sneaky micro, I can actually make it where the archers basically won't hit them ever. The Moringles on the flank with their terror, going to be doing absolutely great here. Drycha getting gooned out by Noctilus, that's exactly what I like to see. And these Moringles, they're going to take a pretty hefty charge from these wild riders. No way for me to really prevent that from landing, but I can punish them using my bats. And they're going to continue dodging, wasting the ammunition of my opponent. There's going to be a Dryad summon on the flank, nothing too scary. And overall, it seems like we have a pretty nice advantage. There is a Waystalker 2 in the mix, he's not too scary, and the bats are doing absolutely amazing. These pistol bats, they were very meta before. Nothing that I really experimented too much, since a lot of the time Vampire Coast before, they would just have so many better tools. But it's sort of nice to revisit a unit that is still very strong here. Of course, I sort of force my opponent to go for very elite cavalry that are very susceptible to these bats. And obviously that's going to be to my advantage here. But, you know, it's sort of like revisiting the old meta with Wood Elves against Coast. I gotta say, it feels great. Now, small little tech thing, I want to heal up my bats, but to actually be a little bit more efficient with that, I'm going to group them up on top of my Moringles and then throw down the AoE. This way, by healing up 4 units, I'm getting a sort of a 50% cost save on that heal, which should be pretty good. Now these Moringles fighting Drycha, it looks like they're actually having a bit of a rough time there, so I'm going to pull them out to a safer position, continue chasing down these archers, and then hopefully have the Moringles sort of clean them up. Balance of power though, slightly in the favor of my opponent. That's definitely a little bit worrying, but once the bats jump on top of them, I think I should be okay. They're probably going to loose a volley towards my bats too, so I have to be a little bit wary to make sure that that does not happen. But the bats are going to be the main source of sort of catching out these units of infantry. As long as they're retreating, the bats can chase. And I can even get a sneaky summon over here too, to try and catch out these Deepwood Scouts. That should be pretty annoying to path around. And it looks like it does actually push those infantry units back a little bit. Noctilus continuing to march on forwards. And it seems like they're trying to push over to the right side, but this is sort of to my advantage here as I'm splitting up the infantry. And I should be able to catch them out with my Moringles. Let's see, Noctilus is getting pretty close too. We've routed off 1 unit over there. These guys over here are likely going to be winning the fight. But I think I can actually dive into melee now with my bats since my guys are so close, and see if I can do a little bit of cleanup there. Drycha is going to be a tiny bit scary, but with all these bats in melee, none of these guys should escape, and we actually should see a few routes in just a second. Balance of power is now back in my favor too. These guys over here, the Way Watchers, very close to routing now. And I think they should be off the map in just a second. A couple units of zombies too. I'm going to position them to corral more Wood Elf forces over to where this huge pocket of guys are. And then the couple units of cavalry that are scattered around, they should be going down to my deck droppers. So looking pretty good. A couple more Way Watchers over here actually should be a really nice pick. So I'm going to finish off the cavalry with my bats and then land in melee with the Way Watchers before going in for a big dive. Let's see, these Mourngulls too, I probably want to start healing them up. They're pretty important, sort of as a very strong melee tool, and I definitely would want them in the late game. So let's go ahead and just give them a quick heal. Noctilus has overextended a little bit on the far side, but that should be fine. And I'm not going to be wasting too many more heals on my bats, simply because they are starting to run low on ammunition. And I'm sort of going to focus more on using them as a melee tool. And on the charge, it seems like they are actually doing pretty good. Let's see, how are their stats? They're not that crazy, so I have to be a little bit careful. Let's go ahead and start pulling them out before they take too much damage. Of course, while they are very good for catching out units, they still have a bit of ammo that I definitely don't want to go wasted. Noctilus will be on the hunt for Drycha too. Looks like the Mourngulls doing great. Going down to Drycha though, she is quite scary, but oh my gosh. The Wood Elves hit a surprising army losses just like that. And I think we actually just won the game. Okay, now that was a really surprising army losses. I have no idea why that happened, but you know, I guess we did have a pretty nice lead, but usually you have to push a little bit more to actually get your opponent to rout there. Nevertheless, the lack of cavalry really hurt my opponent there. He only had 2 Wild Riders, and these bats were just devastating against them. From there, the Mourngulls managed to just chase everything down, and it was a pretty clean win from there. Drycha holds crazy balance of power. Maybe it was just all Drycha holding it together. But there we go, GG. We've won 2 very bad matchups today. I'm feeling pretty good. Let's see if we can win some more. He forgot about the Mourngulls. Oh man, they I guess they've just fallen so out of the meta that my opponent forgot they existed. All right. Well, cool. Let's go ahead and see if we can cast some other games now. I'd really like to cast the match between Artisan Tech Priest and Rusty. Rusty actually an up-and-coming player that has really started to sort of just devastate the lower leagues recently. I'm excited to see them sort of climb up and get better at Warhammer. But for now we'll have to see how they do in this tournament. At the moment, I didn't see their lobby, so I am going to go ahead and spectate this match first. It's going to be Winterwind against Human Boy in what appears to be the ace match. So the winner of this will be moving on forwards, and it should be quite exciting. Which units were banned? I'm excited to see myself. It seems like they're playing High Elves against Beastmen. I can only imagine what bans there are. Cygors, Bestigors, a Dragon Princess, and an Arcane Phoenix. Okay, those are some weird bans, I gotta say. Usually Bestigors are regarded as a pretty weak unit. Cygors too, maybe, but perhaps he's sort of building together some sort of crazy box style against the Beastmen. Generally something I wouldn't advise, but I'm really interested to see how this goes. They could actually get unspottable if they pretend to be corpses. Ooh, that would be a fun mechanic. I'd love that. But alright, I'm going to leave the army blocker up so that we don't spoil any deployments. But as soon as the battle starts, I'll make sure to drop the army blocker. So don't need to panic, but sort of a lot of players actually have sort of started requesting that I don't spoil any army positions. And this is sort of in this tournament it doesn't really matter, but in larger tournaments, Human Boy, Yes, yes. In larger tournaments, I sort of want to build a habit into not spoiling any deployments. So we'll go ahead and just zoom way out and sort of wait for the battle to start. And after it starts, I can go over the armies just as easily, no problem. The mini-map spoils a bit. Oh yeah, true. Oh crap. All right. Thank you. Thank you. See, we're building good practices from the start, right? There we go. Is there... I can hide the mini-map, right? Nope, that's map view. It's sort of janky hiding the mini-map. You know what if I just do this? Look at this ginormous tournament bracket. It's huge. It's huge. It's big on my screen, and mine is like a smaller version so I can see more. So for you guys, it's probably a little bit overwhelming. Let me see if I can actually get a little bit of a better screen blocker. Let's see. For those of you that don't know, we are having the grand finals happening soon. So that should be really nice. AC Maiden, actually, someone that's been helping out a lot when it comes to setting up tournaments, has been putting up a lot of art for the event. Oh, spoilers. Oh, spoilers abound. This is terrible, but whatever. The battle started, so let's go ahead and just dive on into it. See, we're getting all the jank out of the way early. Now, for the High Elf army, we see a very defensive build here. There's no Dragon Princes, so they spec'd into Silver Helms instead. Pretty nice cavalry unit. Definitely not as good as Dragon Princes, though. And it's going to be a defensive position with the forest on the flank. Got a couple of Rangers there to hold the ground, and actually a Mage of Light with a Net of Ammontok, and actually one of the rarest spells I've ever seen, Light of Battle. I basically never see this. Biggest tournament ever. That's amazing. But yeah, we got the Light of Battle. Unbreakable. One of the most rare things to take, because usually the units are going to rout immediately after, but a sneaky net drops on the right flank. Human Boy, coming in with a lot of Centaurs for skirmishing, generally has the advantage here against the cavalry, but getting caught out, the trap card has been played. And actually, it's going to be a really nice trade for the High Elves, but they will be losing their cavalry, so perhaps Human Boy's happier about this than you might initially think. Over in the center line, he has no elite infantry as is standard with Beastmen, but that means that the Rangers are actually going to be very strong. However, they don't fare as well against cavalry though, so I'd sort of be a bit more worried on the High Elf side. I really do like the tech of the Ungor Raiders too. They do really well against the Rangers. And we even have Tyrion here in the center. He has stand your ground and his melee combat buff, making him quite strong. Oh, and he's going to throw down a Sunfang in the middle of the map. Will it take out the Rangers? The Raiders, I mean. Actually, no, it doesn't. Wow, I thought Sunfang did more damage. Tyrion, you disappoint. Although he has done a lot of damage to the Doom Bull, though. So perhaps he's already paid for himself. For the Bolt Throwers, they're getting in a lot of damage, and actually, I was a little bit mistaken. The High Elves actually do have a lot more cavalry than I would have initially thought. Now swooping into the backline of the Beastmen, that's going to be a really nice pick for the High Elf side. On the right flank though, things are definitely collapsing, but for Tyrion, he's only down to half HP. Yeah, he has his healing item too, so as long as he doesn't rout, he should actually be quite a bit of a menace in the later stages of the game. There is, of course, a Traderkin too on the Bray Shaman. He's going to be punishing the cavalry quite a bit. But it seems like the High Elves have already traded quite well. The combined power of the Eagle Claws, picking off the Beastmen Lord too, that's going to hurt their leadership quite a bit. And it seems like the High Elves are pulling together a pretty nice advantage. The only downside is that Tyrion is at really low HP, but that's a little bit incorrect there in terms of the balance of power, since he will be getting back a pretty nasty heal in just a second. Cavalry coming in to support too means Tyrion won't be routing off the battlefield. And honestly, I'm not seeing a lot left for the forces of the Beastmen. What do they have? Just a single unit of Centaur throwing axes. It's not going to be that great, as they have a lot to contend with here. They have multiple units of cavalry. They do manage to land a pretty nice charge here on the flank. And then they will likely be able to win that. Another unit of pretty beat up Razor Gore Herd losing the charge, targeting the Rangers and getting counter-charged by the Silver Helms. That's going to be really rough for them. And although these Centaurs have won it out, Tyrion has gone his heal, and with it, the high elf balance of power swings very much so in their favor. Now, perhaps the Brave Shaman will be able to get some nasty Traderkins on the Silver Helms, but it's looking unlikely. A pretty nice charge on the Tuskor Chariots too will be shutting them down, but potentially will be setting up a really nice counter charge from the Centaur Throwing Axes. They nail the charge, getting in a lot of damage immediately. It is at the loss of the Chariots though, and even though some Rangers come into support, they will be getting charged too. However, it looks like the Unbreakable, the Light of Battle, dropping down on these units, going to be buffing up their leadership by a lot, and they actually do manage to hold. Now, I don't know if they were on the verge of routing off in the first place, but definitely very interesting to see there. As, let's see, how long does this last? It will be wearing off in a second, and we'll see if these units are going to rout. A net does drop though, so if they do rout, they will actually be able to escape, but some spears manage to come in, and it seems like at the very least this unit of Silver Helms will be going down. Tyrion though, going to be helping out in this battle a lot. There's not really a ton that can deal with him at this point. The Doom Bull being quite very necessary threat to deal with this single entity. No longer in the battle. That means that it's going to be a win for the High Elves as they more or less just really dominate on that single entity front. You can see the Doom Bull himself getting very low value, and Tyrion with a nasty 2,000 gold value for himself. Quite nice indeed. The caster even getting in some fights. She didn't have any damage spells, so all of this value is just from straight up combat. And honestly, I feel like the cavalry play here did really well. Human Boy, perhaps banning out the Dragon Princes, feeling a little bit more comfortable on that front, ended up getting taken out. Although he did really have a really nice cavalry force. I feel like the nets though really swung it in the favor of the High Elves, and that's what really managed to pull it together. Exactly 10,000 damage. That's amazing. Was that on Tyrion? That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Human Boy giving the GG well played, asking what did he do to Tyrion. We all really wonder there as Tyrion just absolutely overperforming from how he usually does. Something lame too. Oh my gosh. Becoming a deckhand. We got a member. Thank you very much, man. Hugely appreciated, actually. Being a member for 1 month is actually enough to cover an entire lifetime's worth of ad revenue. So, you know, if you don't feel like watching advertisements, actually, I don't know. Is that part of the membership thing? I feel like if it's not, it definitely should, where you don't get ads if you're a member. I'll check that after the stream, but there we go. For those of you that don't know about the membership, by the way, I'll just take the time to plug myself. Why not? Oh, hey, it's Rusty versus Tech. Let's see if there's a spec slot open. But yeah, for those of you that don't know the membership program, it involves a lot of shoutouts and coaching. So if you want to get one-on-one coaching with me, you can go for the highest tier membership. Let's see, at Rusty, open a spec slot, please. At Tech Priest, there we go. But yeah, for those of you that don't know about the memberships, you can take the highest tier to get one-on-one coaching with me, or if you just want to support the channel, you will get shoutouts at the end of all of my videos. So should be you know, if you're interested, of course. Of course, I do not condone the spending of money for people that do not have it. We'll do this over here for our screen blocker. Man, there's a lot to manage today, but there we go. You had him get 3,000k or 3k value against serious builds. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tyrion. Maybe Tyrion's just jumping back into the meta. I'd be interested to see how he does sort of moving forward. So he hasn't really gone any reworks recently, which is a little bit unfortunate for him. Most of the lords that do get reworks end up becoming meta. Also, by the way, I'd like to say the prize pools sponsored by our wonderful patrons too. A little bit more plugging, and then we'll move on. But yeah, especially Lore Master of Sotek, who is a huge supporter of sort of the Ent ladder as a whole. Make sure to check him out. His links and stuff should be in the description, where he hosts Lorebeards. It's his Warhammer podcast about everything. But all right, what do we got? We got Beastmen against Empire. Beastmen apparently being a very popular faction today. You've seen them twice in the Ace match, but what is Empire going to go for? Honestly, I'm not too sure. Probably, actually, wow. Wow, these guys have only played one game so far. What is this? Let's see. Who has first win? Go ahead and do that. We'll also change the names. Now, Empire, they're going to be pretty scary because of their cavalry and their massive amounts of infantry. Okay, looks like Tech Priest won the first match. By the way, what are the unit bands? Yeah, so Empire, they can't swarm with infantry. Oh, there you go. Thank you very much, Bowmore. But yeah, so overall, the general idea here, Empire go for a lot of infantry, and then they tech into a bit of anti-chariots, anti-cavalry sort of deal. So it's mostly an infantry box with a little bit of support. Beastmen would probably have a hard time banning out all of the supporting units since there's so many different variants of cavalry, but they might have been able to ban out all the infantry. It seems like instead though, they're banning very meta picks for the Empire, Volkmar and Pistoliers. The question is though, will Empire be able to find a suitable replacement for this? For the Empire, they banned Taurox and the Caster of the Wilds, going for the hard Traitor Kin ban. Let's be real here, that's exactly why the Caster of Wilds is banned. But it doesn't ban the Lord option. Caster Lord or Hero? Let's go ahead and quickly double check to make sure that there's no surprise rule breaks here. But yeah, the thing about Beastmen now, they have Caster Lords. So if you just ban the Caster of the Wilds, it doesn't really work out as well as you might think. As Beastmen definitely still have that option. Although it will have to be on their Lord, which will weaken their single entity game a little bit. We're going to try again too, by the way. The struggle. Let's go ahead and let's see if I can throw something janky together. Let's see, can I do this to hide the minimap? Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right, nice. We have our screen blockers in place. I just have to remember to hide both of them. All right, there we go. Nice. All right, so Rusty, man, this screen looks so busy. I really don't like this, but I don't know. Maybe if you guys in chat have a better solution to trying to sort of fix the issue here, where we just have to block everything apparently. As I do sort of like covering the different factions and armies and so on. But all right. We got Rusty. He's going to be up against Artisan Tech Priest. Rusty, one of the scariest forces in the Bronze League currently, has won multiple tournaments. And oh, we're catching a little bit of the Empire there. Webcam over minimap. Yeah, but then I have to move the webcam. That sort of gets really annoying. What if I just look into the distance like this? Here, we'll do this for now. So you have Artisan Tech Priest against Rusty. Rusty. I'm not sure which factions he actually likes generally, but overall, definitely a player that seems to get stronger and stronger every time I see him play. He's been playing in a ton of tournaments recently too, so I'm quite excited to see how he does. As for Artisan Tech Priest, well, he's going to be, I've seen him around quite a bit too, but overall, I'm not sure how, well, actually, I just haven't seen him play a lot in general, so no comments there. Press K for camera mode. Oh, okay, let's see this. Ooh, nice. This is pretty good. Ooh, now this is This is really nice, actually. That means we can get rid of the blockers. Oh my gosh, this is sick. Phoenix King, you're the man. Oh my gosh, look at this. So we can sort of see some vague deployments here, but it makes it a lot harder for the players to sort of suss out where each player is. We do see, though, for the Empire side, there is going to be a bit of a defensive formation here. Going to have some flying units too, and for the Beastmen, they line up in a very wide formation. This is pretty good. I sort of like this. It makes it a lot harder to stream snipe, although it's definitely a little bit possible. Let's see. You know what? We could zoom into some units. What if I hit? What if I give it an eye? Nope, it doesn't do anything. All right, experimentations abound. But honestly, I really just want to go over the armies, guys. We might have to figure out screen blocker things later. Maybe in higher stakes tournaments, I don't know. But honestly, it's just such a pain to work around. So let's just start going over the army, why don't we? And you know what? If you want to make sure that your army doesn't get position sniped, you can sort of just bounce your army around and set their final position right before the battle starts. That should work out just fine. Now, on the Empire side, we have an Empire formation here. We got the Jade Wizard. He's going to be in the air. He has some healing. He has Awakening of the Wood. Very strong against cavalry. There's also a couple of Huntsmen, and it's just going to be a mass infantry box. Now, none of the infantry have been banned, so we see all varieties of them over here. And as for the Beastmen, we're going to have some Manticores. It's going to be a mass single entity squad with the Brave Shaman of Wild along in the center. Some chariots along the flanks. So pretty, I would say pretty standard looking Beastmen build here. Of course, there's no Taurox, but there's also no Volkmar, which is the main reason you would bring him. Now the Empire formation, it's going to be advancing up along the left-hand flank of the Beastmen. And how will the engagement actually play out? Beastmen don't get a ton of advantages here from surrounding the Empire. And but what they do have is a really strong single entity fight. There also seems to be a Luminarch of Hish over here. That's going to be a very interesting choice, and I really want to see how well this thing does. It is one of the most inaccurate units in the entire game, but it does a whole ton of damage here. If you actually go ahead and select it, you can see it does a whopping, you know, just like almost 2,000 damage if it hits with all of its AoEs. So definitely a very scary unit indeed. It's going to fire off its first shot, and will it hit? Yes, it does. Annihilating 2 Centaurs, deleting them from the entire world, and getting about, you know, 20 gold worth of value. Definitely not super exciting for such an expensive unit, but there will be more shots to come as the battle progresses. Rosal saying potential stupid questions, but what happens if both players want to defend and not attack? Actually, it's written into the rules that both players have to move in and engage. So that usually fixes things up. Although I do hope in Warhammer 3 that we get a better solution to the system. Now for the enemy lord, the Brave Shaman of Wild, gonna get sniped out by the Luminarch, taking a huge massive shot, and will it be able to kill him? Another one might actually be able to get him to rout, and the third will probably end him. As for the Empire, it looks like a net is going to drop on the Gorbel too. The Luminarch potentially might want to retarget. No, it's actually going to target the Brave Shaman instead. And if it manages to hit this shot, that would be a huge play. No, instead it hits the Gorbel, getting in massive damage, and actually being a pretty nice early start for the Empire. For the Beastmen too, they actually have a lot of cavalry that is going mostly unused in this situation because of all the infantry. However, one very big problem though, the Tuskor chariots slamming through the infantry lines. They don't care one bit about infantry mass, as they are one of the heaviest units in the game. They're going to be plowing through and getting in a lot of damage, and if the Empire forces start routing off, that's definitely going to be really, really bad for them. As the Beastmen can sort of start collapsing into the center. Another Luminarch shot goes off though, slamming into the Gorbel, weakening the Beastmen's single entity forces even more. And if the Luminarch can get in enough damage on these single entities, potentially the Empire could win off of Franz alone. At the moment, he's dueling one of the Manticores, getting in pretty good damage so far, but he is on a bit of a timer as the Empire infantry forces are are beginning to rout off. And they definitely need Franz's support to actually do well here. The chariots too, completely unhindered with Franz being distracted, getting in tons of damage on the center line here. Luminarch going to be charging up a second shot, slamming into the Gorbel, getting decent damage, but it doesn't manage to actually rout him off. He's going to get a really nice charge on the Luminarch, and potentially it could actually be shut down for the next little while here, as the chariots sort of start overwhelming the forces. Manticores too, both holding in the battle, and Franz looks like he actually will be going down despite having all of his buffs. The Centaurs with throwing axes too are supporting this fight quite well, and it seems like Franz might actually go down. Does he have an Earthblood on him? No, just an Earthblood, but no regrowth, as the Jade Wizard didn't bring it in this battle, and Franz actually routs. And that means that the Beastmen will be getting huge leadership penalties onto the Empire now. The chariots completely unhindered, as there's no cavalry here really to support. And even though the Luminarch will be getting in another shot, I don't think it's going to be enough for the Empire. It lands, it hits the Bray Shaman, but doesn't actually get him to rout off. And honestly, what's left here for the Empire really is just a couple units of stragglers in the distance. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't hit army losses already. Potentially Franz could come back, but a nice pull of the Centaurs will be able to skirmish him down if he does actually rally. So a pretty rough loss for the Empire, a win for Rusty, which means that we will be going to the ace match for this hero battle. But more saying, I'm just waiting for the Luminarch to target a Manticore and accidentally kill Franz. Oh man, that would have been amazing, although I feel like that sort of risk is what the Empire would have needed there to pull a victory. As honestly, Franz getting 2v1'd plus the Centaur support was going to be rough for him regardless. The chariots too look like they're really nice for chasing off the infantry. Actually, this is one unit of Tuskor chariots going to be chasing off all of these spears and the Luminarch, already paying for themselves in units chased off alone. And the Bray Shaman actually managed to live, which means that those two initial shots for the Luminarch really didn't go well. Honestly, I feel like the Luminarch overall has a really hard time paying for itself. And over here, Franz does manage to rally. He's going to be diving in onto the Centaurs, but will he be able to catch them? It looks like that's going to be a no, as a massive volley drops in on top of him, and he will be fleeing from the battlefield. Army losses finally kicking in. Man, that took a really long time there. And the Empire forces will be off. All right. That'd be pretty on brand, yeah. Between solar engines and Luminarchs, honestly, I'm not sure which one is less accurate. Both definitely getting in a lot of friendly fire, though. But alright, let's take a look at some values here. We got Franz, we got the Bray Shaman. They got about the same amount of value, but Franz definitely being quite a bit more expensive. The Luminarch actually sort of paying for itself there, but not really hard carrying as the Empire needed. And dare I even look at the Tuskor chariots, amazing value. They're going to be very scary. The Centaurs even doing quite well themselves. Really, it was the Gorbels that really didn't do great, but hey, they tanked some Luminarch shots in the face. I feel like we have to give it up to them at least a little bit. But all right, that's going to be that match done. It seems like, oh, actually, the winner of this match is going to be facing me, so that's actually quite convenient indeed. So let's see how the ace match actually plays out. Man, I am actually starving already. So hopefully this tournament ends a little bit sooner rather than later. Yep, it's going to be a pick 3 now. Pick 3, ban 1. So let's see how it goes. I feel like this could take a while. Maybe I will get like a quick thing just to sate my appetite a little bit. I'm not sure. I guess we could just go and get a quick little snack, and then have you guys just look at the picks and bans here. Hopefully the players here type nothing obscene in the chat, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I'll see you guys in but 1 minute for the final match of this round. All right. Alright. Alright. Oh, that took longer than I thought. How's it going? How's it going? What'd I miss? Alright, so we have the pick 3. We got greenskins picking the dark elves. Alright. So that means it's either going to be a vampire counts or a high elf counter pick. Now, by usual tournament convention, I would put the favor on the side of probably the dark elves here. But with the bans, I feel like vampire counts actually have a much better way of things here. But instead, Rusty's going to go for the high elves, which means we're going to get a classic dark elf versus high elf match. Hey, Alex McCobb, hello, and good morning. Hope the day's going well for you. Oh my goodness. I just had to go in and grab a quick bite before I starve to death during the tournament. But alright. Oh, whoops. Oh, man. Oh, I screwed up again. Yeah, the pick and ban thing. It says, then round 2. Bottom starts. Then in ace, the winner of round 2 bans first. Okay, there we go. You've made it super clear in the rules. All right, but yeah, how's it going, guys? How's it going? I'm like suddenly super frazzled. There's like way too much going on for me right now. Take Tomb King's ban Burning Head. That would be pretty good. That'd be pretty good, especially against some factions that only have one Firecaster. That'd be really good, actually. You know, maybe we might try that out. Although I do really want to play a lot of dwarves. I feel like getting in some Tomb Kings games will be quite fun indeed. Alright, so Tech Priest going to ban Shadow Warriors. Alright. That is a very interesting choice. So potentially wants to eliminate all of the kiting options for the Dark Elves. Although generally I would say Shadow Warriors are pretty, they're overall pretty rare in most matchups. I'm not sure how often they'll show up in the sort of verse Dark Elf matchup. But potentially Artisan Tech Priest has something in mind. More saying nice to see the sub count rising. It's been insane, man. It's been insane. I've counted 30 days since the sudden explosion of new people coming on in. And yeah, it is very exciting, man. I'm really hoping to become a partner with CA before Warhammer 3 comes out, so that I can get some access and then really sort of dig into the complexities of the game early. But you know, if we don't get it early, then that's fine too, of course. Shadow Warriors are pretty common in this matchup. Really? Really? Alright. More saying you're rooting for me? Well, thank you. I wouldn't really say I'm the underdog though in this tournament. But I'm happy to hear it. It's too bad to see Human Boy get taken out so early, by the way. Would have been nice to meet him in the finals. Get those CA bucks. Oh, you mean for the sort of for the channel? I see. Yeah. Turin is he's been really grinding out the Age of Empires 4 content. It's been great though. Sort of watching you know, if I want any Age of Empires content, it's great, and Warhammer is always here for me too. So honestly, I've been pretty happy about it. Also the power vacuum that I get to sort of mold over as Turin takes a break from Warhammer. It's all mine. It's all mine. I'm consuming all the power. Yeah, you're talking about CA partner, not the tournament. Yeah, AoE4 as I'm pretty sure it's been doing pretty good for his channel overall, so I'm happy for him. As for the bans, by the way, we're seeing a Scourge Runner Chariot ban, Illyrian Reaver Archers ban. So that means there's no skirmishers for the High Elves this time. And there's also going to be very few skirmishers for the Dark Elves. Maybe we'll see a Dark Rider or a crossbow ban. That would be pretty hilarious. Yes, there we go. Repeater crossbows ban. All right. Now this should be quite exciting, as we're seeing a Dark Elf versus High Elf game with no skirmishers. So it's going to be cav on cav action, melee fights between infantry, and overall should be a pretty different style overall from what we're used to. And that's really what makes this sort of format so good. You really get to see very different play styles from in matchups that you feel are familiar. Why ban Reaver Archers? Maybe he just wanted to be able to take repeater crossbows or something, I'm not sure. Let's see. What's this? Oh yeah. Yeah, Turin's been getting a lot of support from the AoE community. He's been like really digging into it. It's nice. Lots of tournaments too. It's really nice for people that are sort of diving into it, also transitioning from Warhammer to try out Age of Empires. I don't think he's switching permanently though, by any means. Just not banning Dread Knights. I feel like, maybe if you ban Dread Knights and Cold One Knights, that would actually be pretty great. You annihilate all of the Dark Elf cavalry. Of course, Scourge Runners are still a pain, but who knows? They saw my video? Oh, on the skirmishers? Maybe. Maybe they both saw the video on skirmishers and they're thinking, you know what? We're getting rid of the best units in the game. Let's see. An opponent can ban a unit, not that you ban units as in fruit rules. Yeah, it's not part of the fruit rules. It's just part of the tournament format. All right. All right. So it looks like Artisan Tech Priest actually ready for battle extremely quickly. Perhaps his build did not even have any skirmishers to begin with. I would say that's probably pretty rare, but maybe not impossible. So he could actually be a lot more advantaged here than we might think. Rusty, perhaps caught off guard, creating his army. We'll see if he's ready for what Tech Priest has to offer. Going back to the heavy infantry meta, you're down to see Swordmasters versus Executioners. Actually, one of the first, also JG, hello. One of the first multiplayer battles I ever watched. I forget who was hosting the game, but it was a High Elf, or who was casting it. It was a High Elf versus Chaos game between two players. I don't even remember their names, but it was like just a line of High Elf elite infantry and a line of Chaos elite infantry. I think it was like chosen against Swordmasters, and sort of watching that game was what inspired me to really dive into the to multiplayer and tournaments as a whole. Because sort of I saw the mass infantry playstyle and I was like, I could do that. I think I can do that. And then I got wrecked in multiplayer, but over the years of practicing and so on, eventually we did get there. And now I can actually consider myself, at the very least, a pretty good player. But, had it not been for that video, maybe there would be no Enticity, who knows. Phoenix King getting his message deleted. We will never know what he said. Was it, what, does YouTube bleep something out? Or was it, oh no, message retracted, I see. So you chose to end your own message. If he has Dark Shards, it could be painful for Swordmasters. Oh, definitely. Definitely. JG saying, what's it? A very good player you are. I would say on a lot of matchups I'm pretty up there, but I wouldn't say I'm like an S plus tier player. You know, you got a lot of players that can wipe the floor with me pretty consistently. So we still have a ways to go, which is what is great about sort of getting into the competitive scene. There's like always more that you can do to get better. It never really gets stagnant unless you just don't enjoy the gameplay, which then of course that would be stagnant. But you know, there's always a difficult problem to solve, which is nice. That's sort of what I really like about games in general, just getting challenged to do something very difficult. It's also why I like playing the Souls series. And also, by the way, completely unrelated to Warhammer, have you guys seen the Elden Ring gameplay footage? Don't spoil it in chat. Mods are free to delete any spoilers in chat that come up. In case, you know, people don't want that. But oh my gosh, I am so excited for that game to come out. It's too bad it's coming out like, you know, 2 days away from Warhammer. So that's going to be a bit of an issue. But, you know, I'm sure we'll be able to fit in both games into our schedules. Your accent is so strong. How the heck? What? My accent? I have an accent? I do know that, what's it? I have like a... Sometimes I have like a sort of slur when I talk, but... An accent? Probably not. I was born and raised in Canada. Unless it's a Canadian accent. I don't know. What does the Canadian accent sound like? I have no idea. Glad to see the changes to casters. Which casters? Like what? Change to casters? As in like in Elden Ring? Like spell casting? In which case, yes, I agree. In terms of Warhammer, probably not too many changes. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I'm proliferating the stereotypes of Canadians. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. They're very mobile in Elden Ring. Oh my gosh. When that game comes out, it will hurt to make Warhammer content for a bit. But then Warhammer 3 will come out and life will be awesome. But man, it's going to be an amazing February of next year. It's going to be great. Also, Croissant. Hello. Happy to have you here. Fellow ODM member in my very own clan coming in to watch. I hope you're excited to see this match because we're seeing a game with no skirmishers. Both players have banned each other's 360 skirmish units. And for the High Elves, we have the dreaded Alariel the Radiant, anti-flying Tempest, very good. Also Mage of Fire, the dual mage style, a bit strange, but not terrible. Going to be pretty good. Star Dragon, very strong air force. And actually, this takes very nice advantage of the fact that the Dark Elves don't have skirmishers. A couple Silver Helms, 2 in the back. They're going to be quite nice. And over here, yonder, we have a flying Doom squad of single entities. Double Manticore. Double Sorceress of Beasts. What is this even? What? It's just a plain Sorceress of Beasts. The Madman. The Madman just took a plain Sorceress. Is this cost efficient? How expensive is she? I feel like this costs like as much as a Manticore basically, but the stats are... Actually, the stats are pretty comparable. Look at that. Look at that. The damage is a bit less, but that's pretty good. Okay, never mind. But we also have another Sorceress of Beasts here with also no Manticore summons. What is this build? What is this build? Marathi coming in with the main spell usage here. Gonna be trying her best. And it's going to be a good luck, have fun for both players. So they're going to be marching up towards each other. Surely Alariel with her Tempests are going to be quite strong here. The Manticore does have more HP than the Sorceress, so that will likely play a part. But I really wonder. How this is going to go. Yeah, the Flying Goon Squad, but you know, it's unique enough where I'm excited to see it. Now, for the front line of the Dark Elves, it's going to be 3 sort of Witch Elves here. 5 Witch Elves making up the front line. 1 being the ROR. They'll do decently, but against these white lions, probably less so. The front line is just spearmen though, so overall they will win it over the long term. Alariel trying to engage on the flying goon squad too, having a bit of a rough time. They actually all dive in on the caster. That Mage of Fire looks like she might actually go down. No, she takes no hits despite all the charges that drop on her. And then the Dragon Princes are moving into surround. It's going to be a pretty nice play, a big heal too from Alariel, but she is taking a lot of damage. There is more or less a full surround here, and strangely enough, the Star Dragon choosing not to get engaged just yet. Potentially trying to stay out of the Soul Sealer, but still took quite a bit of damage from it. But now, positioning directly above, we could see a Mighty Breath attack here from the Star Dragon. Will it go off? Yes, it will, directly on top of Marathi, and just like that, Marathi is down to 1/3 HP. Definitely a scary display of the Star Dragon there. I think definitely a very strong play, but will it be enough? The front line for the High Elves is beginning to collapse. Many of the units are routing off, but surely if Marathi goes down, it will become very High Elf favored. The Star Dragon though, not getting good contact on her. She even rallies, but Alariel looks like she will be diving on in. Slamming into the back, missing her charge attack, but landing the second one potentially could mean a rout for Marathi. One of the Manticores getting routed off too. It will likely come back, but not anytime soon, and a massive burning head roasting those Witch Elves like no tomorrow. There is still another unit of Witch Elves though that will be a little bit scary, and Marathi, although routing, will still be a threat unless she gets chased off. You can see Alariel's trying to disengage so that she can actually chase her down. Excuse me. But actually getting pinned down by the Dread Knights, it looks like Marathi might be able to escape. The dragon trying to disengage now to find a little bit of a better engage. The spears are holding back the Dread Knights, and will the Star Dragon be able to do it? It is quite a bit slower than Marathi at only 80 speed, and she does actually rally. This is really nice for the Dark Elves. She could potentially heal back almost to full on Soul Stealers alone, but using her superior mobility, she will be avoiding that Star Dragon. Now for Alariel, she does get rampaged in the back here against the Witch Elves. That's going to be pretty rough for her indeed, but a pretty nice breath attack drops in on the Sorceress. That's going to be hurting her quite a bit, but look at the balance of power. It is dead even right now. But with Marathi healing, it is slightly in the favor of the Dark Elves. It all will really come down to the Star Dragon though, and how well can actually support here. But Alariel takes a big 1-2 punch from the Sorceress Manticore combo and actually almost goes down. One more hit will actually get her off the battlefield. And there we go. Alariel goes down and the healing is gone for the High Elves. That is a really nice lead for a Tech Priest now. Doombolt dropping on the Star Dragon too, rampages it. And now that means that these single entities will be able to cycle charge it to the heart's content. The High Elf forces are now running into the distance, and I think the Dark Elves have won it. All the charges dropped. I have no idea which charges you're talking about. But a pretty crazy build here from the Dark Elves. Actually going for the mass flying goon squad. I feel like potentially Tempest was missed there, as we didn't see Tempest do that much damage to that squad. Potentially they were really spread out. I'm not entirely sure, but pretty fast third game from Tech Priest, coming in with the mass witch build. 5 Witch Elves, we got 2 Sorceresses actually paying for themselves too. The Manticores doing quite well for themselves, and honestly just those air fights not going that well for the High Elves. They didn't have that many single entities, and even though the Star Dragon got a massive breath on Marathi, it simply was not enough. Phoenix King saying should have banned Marathi, perhaps. Perhaps she is quite a beast. GG, well played. Jeez. I'll hop in now. Alright. So that's going to be that match done, which brings us over to the next one, which actually involves yours truly, myself. Over here, you can see the winner will be facing me, that being Artisan Tech Priest Rusty. I will see if I can avenge you as soon as a spot opens up in the lobby. Let's see. Enticity. He's saying you should have committed on the fight to the ground, perhaps. The Star Dragon did take a while to actually get engaged. But overall, definitely pretty interesting game. Alright, so with the scores, a set. Let's see where that lobby is. It might have gone deleted. Maybe we'll have to invite Artisan Tech Priest. Yeah, did it get deleted? I think he deleted it. Alright, we'll host it. We'll host it. Let's go ahead and invite the mad lad. We'll add a player, not an AI player. Oh, geez. Oh, geez, we bugged out the lobby, guys. We bugged out the lobby. Let's go ahead and make a new one. Man, I'm really wondering, have you tried out that double sorceress style before? Is that something that you've been practicing, Tech Priest? I don't know if you're in chat right now, but that seemed like a very intentional build from you. Let's see. Oh, whoops. Whoops. I accidentally have... Man, everything's falling apart here. The weird thing about challenge, you can actually see on the screen in front of you, it says that the finals is way earlier than it actually is. So I just have to go ahead and fix that, and then we'll be good to go. All right, there we go. Okay, nice. Dr. Jellyfish, if you're watching, you don't have to wait for me in the semis. All right, what map do we got? We got Summer Song over here. There we go. We got Summer Song. We're in the top bracket, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Dwarves. And we're going to go for the Tomb Kings. Two very fun factions, I believe. And I'm wondering what Tech Priest is going to bring against us. Remember, you don't have to wait in semis for me. We meet in the finals. All right, there we go. All right, and he's going to go for Dwarves. Tech Priest going for the dwarf pick. All right, and now we gotta choose. Now we have a predicament. Do we go for the Tomb Kings pick and see if we can win this this rather difficult matchup against the dwarves, or do we go? Yeah, you know, no, we're going Tomb Kings. We're going Tomb Kings. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Do you pick and ban factions before units? Yes, you do. Mirror. I was very tempted to do the mirror, but I think this should be fine. I do. All right, guys. What are we banning from the dwarves? There's a couple good options here. You can ban all of their anti-large, but then they have tons of slayers. Or potentially we ban the front line. We can't ban Longbeards because Longbeard great weapons exist. Or can we? Do we double ban Longbeards? Is that worth it? Do we just waste all of our resources doing that? Potentially we could ban Iron Drakes and Thunderers. That would actually be a pretty interesting one. I feel like that's pretty decent. You know what? That's not bad. That's not bad. So, but can I do better? Can I do better? Actually, dwarves is really scary. There's like nothing here I can ban. This is terrible. All right. You know what? We could ban both Slayer units, actually. Ban Slayers. This is it, guys. This is it. What is a dwarf without Slayers? I feel like we should be able to do it if they don't have any Slayers. Because if it's just mass range, you just have to dive into them with single entities and then you're good. You know, we'll have tons of chariots. Overall, I feel pretty confident here. Must be taller than this line to play. Well, he apparently just barely made it in. He banned Ushopti Great Bows. Okay. Ban Slayers. Slayers, Great Weapons. Alright. We've done it. We've banned the melee anti-large of the dwarves. Will we be able to pull it together now? He's banned Ushopti Great Bows, which is definitely a very scary ban for us. And he's going to ban Carrion. The Mad Lad is going to go gyrocopters against us. That's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. How do you beat gyrocopters? All right. Well, I have a couple ideas for builds here. I don't think we're completely screwed by any means. But this does seem to imply that he's going to go for some sort of crazy gyrocopter style of play. I would not be surprised in the slightest if that is what we saw. For me, though, I definitely have some shenanigans afoot that I feel pretty confident about. So I think we shall be just fine. We also have most of our infantry. He, of course, has most of his infantry too. So it's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. But it does very heavily signal that he wants to go gyrocopters. Very, very, very heavily. The 10,000 IQ play here would be to not go gyrocopters. Yes. Yes, actually. And that would actually be pretty scary. Honestly, that would be pretty scary. There are a lot of shenanigans afoot. The mind games. The absolute mind games. So my 1 million IQ play would be to not take defenses against gyrocopters. I feel like that would be the play, right? Just leave myself open and just get shot to death. All right, I think I have a pretty good loadout though. This feels decent. I gotta say, I'm not in love with this build by any means, but it does feel like a build. It feels like a build. Oh no, I'm gonna get destroyed, guys. I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed. Ravaged, even. Got Rusty. Yeah, let's see, you had all the heals coming back up. Rusty saying, yeah, I agree, but I don't think you lost because of Marathi. It's because of the big group fight with your lord. When you shouldn't have, and got rampaged and killed. Yeah, losing Alariel was really rough. Otherwise, it was pretty even. Was pretty even indeed. Let's see, I don't have Ushopti, I don't have Carrion. No, there are some interesting styles I could do here. There are some pretty interesting styles indeed. I just have to make sure I don't die to gyrocopters, really. That's all I really need. Because they are brutal in this matchup. If you guys have not played against a mass gyrocopter build here, you guys do not even know how painful it is. It's insane. Gyrocopters are such a huge pain here because, especially with ammunition restocks, they can just constantly just kill everything. It's brutal. My one saving grace though is that they don't have healing, and that should be able to help me out quite a bit. Overall, for my build, it feels decent. Nothing too special, but it does feel like a pretty okay build. I gotta remember he doesn't have any slayers too, which is actually a really nice advantage for me. And I can actually, yeah, if he just has no slayers, do I just win the game? Oh my gosh, Arid Zephyr. Arid Zephyr with the $20 no comment, you absolute madman. I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how to not get obliterated. And he comes in with the crazy dono. Or donation. I feel like dono is, I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about that abbreviation. But anyways, I say I have a decent build here. I think, It seems like he's trying to really hint that he's gonna go for gyros, but I feel like maybe he won't. Let's see. This build is okay. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's go ahead and try it. Oh boy. Oh boy. I think overall the scariest thing that he could go for, anything. It could be anything. A ground build would be really scary. A mass gyrocopter style of play could go really badly for me too. You know, if he just goes for like 5 gyrocopters, that would be pretty bad. Alternatively, he doesn't have any slayers, which is really nice for me, but we got Rusty in chat telling me to avenge him. I will try my best. I will try my best. Perhaps I should have just banned gyrocopters. We'll see. We will see. I'm ready for the no gyro army though. And it will be pretty easy to tell based on his army size. For my build, by the way, I'm actually going sort of a strange style. I'm gonna say there's gonna be a lot of screaming. That's terrible. But yeah, it's sort of inspired by my Vampire Coast play, in that we have a ton of artillery, and then we have a ton of mobility. And as long as he doesn't have a ton of cannons, I'm feeling okay. If he does have, like, you know, 3 cannons, we have to rush, and things are going to get a lot scary. Quite scary, actually, after that. But overall, I'm feeling decent about my chances here. You'll see in my army in just a second. Alright, and here we go. The smallest army ever against his smallest army ever. I have triple Screaming Skull Catapult. These guys have less range than cannons, so they might actually run into some issues here. I'll deploy them nice and forwards, a little bit behind the hill, to hopefully make them harder to hit. We got the double supportful Stalker here. Gonna be coming on in to support my artillery pieces. We got Cetra, we got double Tomb Scorpion. We have a Chariot too, and we have the measliest infantry line you've ever seen. 3 skeleton spears and a single archer unit to help defend against the gyrocopters. That's it. That is it. There's nothing else here. So I'm really hoping that my single entity squad can really sort of harass his backline if he is going for a sort of rush, and that the Screaming Skull catapults will be able to really punish any infantry that he has. It's gonna be rough though either way, but you know, we do have chariots and he doesn't have any slayers, so sort of a big monster ball potentially could be our win here. And if he brings 5 gyrocopters, I feel like the stalkers will win it. I feel like it, but maybe we're wrong. Where are the 5 caskets? Ooh, I was actually seriously considering going for mass caskets of souls, but I do really like the Screaming Skull catapult, so that's what we shall go with. He's given the good luck, have fun. So let's start the battle and see what he has. He has 3 gyrocopters, guys. I would like to announce that we have a chance. He has 1 unit of cannons. The Screaming Skull catapults are going to go ahead and focus that. They're going to be firing at my chariots right off the bat. I need to pull those guys to a safer position, as cannons do insane damage to those guys. It's going to be triple brimstone gun. That's going to be pretty scary, but only 3 gyrocopters is not the scariest thing in the world. His front line is advancing, so I will actually have to deal with that instead. And then we're going to get the stalkers, and they're going to get a few shots in. Oh, wow, look at that! The stalkers do a lot of damage to gyrocopters. Who would have guessed? They're going to press the advantage now. My single entities are going to push on forwards, and the chariots are just going to sit back and relax. These guys can't dive in onto my backline if the chariots are there. So I feel like that's pretty nice for me. Now the gyros do fire back, punishing the stalkers quite a bit. They're going to be trying to dodge a few of the shots, but the shots are quite fast on the stalkers, so they actually do get quite a bit of damage. And I'm going to start harassing with my scorpions. That should work out quite well for me indeed. The double engineer, definitely quite scary. And I'm just sort of trying to stall for time so that my Screaming Skull catapults can get a bit more damage. Overall, Cetra, he's going to push in forwards too. We're going to pull away so that the gyrocopters don't do too much damage to my scorpions. In fact, trying to charge into these blasting charges to get some good damage in. And we're just going to play keep away with our infantry. The chariots are going to move on into trying to get some good damage. Those miners look like they are off the battlefield. That's very good for me. And the Screaming Skull catapults are just gonna keep retargeting. Cetra, gonna be disengaging from whoever this is. Thorek, definitely a very scary guy. We do not want him to be getting in too many hits on our single entities, and we're just gonna avoid him until the late game. In the meantime, we're buying really good time for the rest of my chariots to do a lot of damage here. My archers are doing quite well too, but my stalkers actually get a little bit caught out. And I have to remember, they are my only tool here to deal with these single entities. So they are of the utmost importance to keep alive. And getting hit by some troll hammers is not on the table for something I want them to be having happen to them. So let's go ahead and pull them back. We're going to retarget the Screaming Skull catapults to try and get in a bit of damage onto that grouped up unit of infantry over there. One of the Tomb Scorpions might actually go down though, which is a little bit rough for that guy. And as for Thorek, can we goon him out? He's a little bit scary here. These blasting charges are going to be a bit scary too. But overall, I think we're not in a terrible situation, especially since we can still body block with many of our guys too. Chariots are going to try and deal with the Longbeards now. And the Stalkers are going to get into position to try and harass the Gyrocopters. Balance of power is in the favor of my opponent, but we still have a pretty strong single entity force now. But these troll hammers, I definitely need a way to deal with them. As for the Gyros, they're going to be a little bit of a threat. They are slowly running out of ammunition. The group over here is having a pretty rough time too, and actually, potentially, we could go in for a snipe on the troll hammers. The chariots are going to dive in on top of them. We're going to ignore Thorek in this case and just sort of leave him be. And the archers, they're getting in some nice damage, lowering the armor of all of these guys. And they'll hopefully turn the tide in our favor. Cetra too, he's going to be buffing up his physical resist so that those gyrocopters do as little damage as possible. And then we're going to throw down a big old debuff here to try and swing the tide of battle in our favor. We still have the Stalkers too. They're at high ammunition. This is very good for us. And they're going to start pushing forward to deal with those pesky gyrocopters. The troll hammers are taking a lot of damage, but the battle's not over yet. There's still a lot of very elite infantry that I need to deal with. Cetra's taking a lot of damage too from the triple gyrocopter that is just endlessly harassing him. The cannon in the back also is going to be quite a bit of a threat. But the Stalkers, they're in. The engineers are taking some damage. And will I be able to chase these guys down? Man, they're doing a lot of damage to Cetra. That's going to be quite scary. Let's go ahead and try and get as close as possible. And we might even be able to get them to run out of ammo here. That's going to sort of be the goal. As for Cetra, he's going to give himself some more physical resist. And if I can chase down these engineers, I should be able to win it, in theory. As once the engineers are down, really the only thing that I have to do is just tank the rest of the ammunition, and then we're good. These Longbeards are routing for the hills too, which is very nice. The Stalkers are going to shut down the cannon. These guys are going to chase off some units. That guy's going to chase off the those dreaded Longbeards. No, the engineer. Yeah, there we go. And the catapults are just gonna keep trying to get some damage in. Now I'm going to drop artillery on these guys and pull them back so that they can get into a safer position. Cetra doing great against the engineer. We finally have the cannons shut down, and soon enough we may even get an Ushapti summon, which is really nice. Now these gyros, they're going to be focusing the Tomb Scorpion. They might have enough ammunition to kill him, I'm not entirely sure. Cetra's safe though. Thorek's going to be a little bit annoying, but I do still have the Screaming Skull catapult, so I do feel at least decently safe here. Let's see. I'm going to summon my Ushapti on top of the cannon since I'm not... Oh, no, not the lag. Come on, put it there. Put it there. Okay, nice. So we're going to get the Ushapti on top of the cannon. The gyrocopters are very nearly out of ammo now. My Screaming Skull catapults have used up a decent amount of their ammunition, although they will be getting finished off in just a second. Tech Priest saying bad news, alright. I have no idea what he's talking about. But overall, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. The one catapult will be sacrificed. It will be going down. But we have managed to finish off the Longbeards. The artillery piece. Is my Ushabti unit gonna summon? Did I just lose my Ushabti summon to lag? Tech Priest with the lag switch? Oh my gosh. Alright, well we might have to send in the unit of the Tomb Scorpion there to actually support instead. Cetra's gonna try and give himself a big ol' buff over there so that his physical resist keeps him nice and alive. My Ushabti summon still is not going off. That is terrible, absolutely terrible. And for this artillery piece, we're going to drop it and just start running away with them. Oh my gosh, did lag actually kill the Ushabti summon? That's insane. I've never seen that before. What just happened? Anyways, Cetroid's gonna continue chasing off these guys. The cannon, it's gonna be a little bit annoying. I might be able to dodge its shots, but there are still a lot of units of dwarf infantry left. That's gonna hurt me quite a bit. We do manage to dodge the shots though. That's going to be quite nice. And we do have a unit of Screaming Skull catapults up, and that's going to be firing away at the Longbeards now. Now Cetra, he's still having a hard time versus the engineer, as generally large single entities do have a hard time finishing off the heroes, but that's not too much of a problem. As long as he continues knocking him down too, then the cannons shouldn't be landing in too many hits. It looks like, there we go, finally. A big hit on the engineer should be finishing him off. Okay, Tech Priest saying his PC is doing unpleasant noises, so potentially a good sign for us, but I think he might be able to win despite the PC lag. Let's go ahead and start pulling Cetra too. We want to give him another buff. Try and chase down that engineer, and man, these engineers are so pesky. They're so pesky, they never die. This one nearly off the map though. I think he should be gone. There we go, he is out. Cetra still continues to live. And now we wait. Now we wait. There's not really much to micro at this point, except for maybe a couple units of artillery here that are just pulling away. Cetra looks like he does finally finish off that engineer too, which means we can charge into the Longbeards, but I'm not sure if my opponent's PC just exploded. It may have very well. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, let's see. He did send me a message. And we get the valiant defeat. The game just decides that the game is over for us. What just happened? Okay, so Artisan Tech Priest says that his PC just black screened. I have no idea what just happened, but I'm pretty sure he had the victory there. Alright, but GG. What just happened? Anyways, the Stalkers are pretty terrible against Gyrocopters. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Alternatively, maybe if I went for a Mass Archer style, that actually would have worked a lot better. I was thinking of going Mass Archer Kite, actually. But generally, they don't have a ton of ammunition. The Scorpions had a pretty rough time. The Catapults didn't do as well as I would have thought. Not as good as Queen Bess, unfortunately. And even Cetra had a pretty hard time himself. We demand a recount. Oh man, what a match. But all right, let's go ahead and let's see. We'll load up the next map, Tower of Hoeth, and then hopefully we can get our opponent in here, with his PC not exploding. All right. Man, I knew gyros would be a problem. I did not know they would be that much of a problem. You know, perhaps I should have gone for like a, maybe I should have gone for, ooh, I should have gone Bone Giants. Oh, that was a missed opportunity, guys. That was a missed opportunity. See, I was hoping he'd have more Quarrelers. That's where these Screaming Skull Catapults would have done better. But instead he went for the Troll Hammers, which honestly was expected. Hopefully he doesn't just lag out, but if he does, we'll have to move on. That's already more love than dwarves deserve. You know, Phoenix King, you know dwarves aren't a good faction in multiplayer generally, right? Overall, overall you don't see them that often, honestly, because they do usually get hard countered. I feel like they need some time in the limelight, honestly. But yeah, the Screaming Skull catapults against thin formations, they're pretty inaccurate. Even shooting for the whole game, they had a pretty rough time. Honestly, I much prefer Vampire Coast mortars instead of those guys, but what can you do? Let's see, man, if I had gone double Bone Giant though, that would have been hilarious. That would have been hilarious. Alright, what else is there? What else? You know, Tomb Kings, I'm not sure I'm feeling Tomb Kings anymore. Maybe we will stick with like dwarves and like, you know, lizard men or something, or maybe dwarves and Bretonia. Bubba's Big Blast saying, random question. If the Necro Sphinxes could fly, like they can on tabletop, would they be useful against dwarves? I would say no. Dwarf ranged is really strong against single entities. It's sort of like taking a dragon against them, except without breath attacks. So they sort of just become a huge flying target. The ginormous flying target, which can be rough for them indeed. All right. So we'll see if our opponent messaged us. He has not. He has not. We'll give him a good, you know, few minutes. The tournament bracket as it is right now looks like this, with Winterwind up ahead in the round 2. Dr. Jellyfish also in the semifinals, and the winner will be moving up onto the finals. If one of them does move up onto the finals and Tech Priest is not able to come back, then we'll probably just move on and then play that out. But hopefully that doesn't happen and he can hop on in and we can finish our best of 3. But how's your day going, guys? What's it? It's a Monday. It's a Monday today, yeah. We have a tournament tomorrow. I need to grind out some best of 3s to play in the Masters tournament tomorrow, if I want to. Have some editing to do also for some videos. The endless editing that it takes to make YouTube videos, so that should be quite exciting. And let's see. Sorry, just checking to see if my opponent has messaged back, but right now it seems like he is away right now. So we're keeping an eye on him. We're keeping an eye on him. I guess we just chill with chat then. We'll just sit back, relax. You're learning Google APIs and you hate it? Oh man, learning APIs from scratch, it's so much reading. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. At least, what's it? You know, I feel like Google would have at least a decent API, but I haven't worked with it, so you would know better than me, I guess. All right, just made some pizza, nice. All right. But yeah, I don't know. How do you fill time as a caster? Let's talk about news, guys. Let's talk about some news. What makes you like taking the catapults? Oh, I was just testing them out. I wanted to see if they could perform sort of like mortars. Spoilers, they did not. But Warhammer 3 factions. We've seen a lot of spells from everyone. We've seen Tzeentch stuff. We haven't seen any Slaanesh and Nurgle stuff, but I gotta say, I've fallen in love with Tzeentch. And I still want to try out Khorne's, you know, chariot kite style in in multiplayer when that comes out. It seems like Tzeentch's shields too aren't as strong as I initially thought. They really only tank like the initial hit, What is really nice about it though is that your guys can't get sniped out. So, you know, you don't have to worry about soul stealers killing all your heroes and such. So he's probably very happy about that. All right, let's see. So still no message from my opponent. We continue to wait. Oh, you know what we could do? We can cast the games between Winterwind and Dr. Jellyfish. Yeah, they're in match right now, but we can join in after. You really want to build a Blood Crusher Doom stack and just slam it into an enemy army? That would be crazy. Wait, Blood Crushers are, it's not the cavalry, right? Blood Crushers are sort of like Bloodthirsters? There's so many blood units in Khorne's roster, I mixed them up. I mixed it up real hard. I still don't know them by name just yet. Does the shield block all damage on the hit that depletes it, or does it carry over to the health bar? I would imagine it carries over. If it doesn't, then that would actually be really good against single entities. You'll have to check one of those replays. Cooking rice, pork chops, and asparagus. Hey, nice. That sounds pretty good. You can't do anything to be a member? Is it an income issue, or is it you can't find the button issue? I'm sure someone can point you the right way. Blood Crushers are the same. They're written by blood letters instead of warriors. Oh, I see. Yes, yes. I see. I know what you're talking about. That should be pretty exciting. Some very high damage shot cavalry. Can't wait for all the Chaos mains shouting at you in chat for not giving them the win and instead kiting them. Oh, against Khorne? Khorne's gonna get kited into oblivion unless those chariots are super cost effective. Alright, well, maybe next time. I have no idea what your issue is, and I don't feel like doing IT right now, Chelsea. Yeah. Yeah, 70 people watching the multiplayer lobby screen. Look at this. We got tons of players here. We got Tsar Warhammer, right? We got Chicken Roto. Total Smackdown. A 4v4 between players. Pretty nice. HR. Simply HR. Some sushi over here. Interesting lobby names. We got ODM in here. Nice. We should join this one. Get some clan practice in midstream. Hey, nice, nice. Yeah, we got... That's a sign of the bots, Phoenix King, obviously. Spicy Samurai, that's a good lobby name. I like it. All welcome. 2v2, no spam. Look at that. This guy knows what he knows what he likes. See, meanwhile, our opponent still has not gone back to us. We continue to wait. Looks like you should open a lobby just to get a shout out. You should. You should. It's the perfect time to while we wait for something to happen today. Let's see. When did our opponent DC? He DC'd at 3:54. It's been 10 minutes. Wow. It's felt much longer than 10 minutes since the DC. You have $27 in your wallet? Well, that's very exciting. It's very exciting. Hopefully, your tech issues run into no issue. All right. If you guys start opening lobbies, I will give you. Hey, there you go. Enticity is cool. Yes, yes. Who is this? Who is this? Who made this lobby? All right. Free shoutouts to. Let's see here. Oh, it's the Phoenix King. All right. Nice, nice. Look at that. Look at that. Quick lobby. What else do we got here? This really is this is premium chat interaction in Warhammer. You know, there's no Twitch integration, but we're making the best out of it. Ooh, we got some AoE. Nice. Perhaps Area of Effect or Age of Empires. We may never know. You have 27 quarters. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's still pretty good. That's only, you know, 75% loss of expected change. Let's see. Winter Wind and Jellyfish having the most epic duel too in the distance. While we wait patiently. Please, please let us spectate. But the tournament should be ending pretty soon. We only have 2 more best of 3s to really go over. That being this one and then the finals. You don't have 27 quarters? Alright, I have no idea what you're talking about anymore then. So what maps do we have? We have Tower of Hoeth again in the finals due to Challenge being all weird with its maps. I blame Challenge and not myself. Even though I knew it was going to happen. Sort of the problem is that if you have like, you know, if you have 3 rounds and more people join the tournament, it just grabs it grabs all the maps and just shifts them leftwards. And then creates a new column for the finals. And because of that, everything's just a little bit jumbled now. Just the tiniest bit. Hey, Majay, good morning. It is evening for me, but happy to have you here. What brings you to this fine live stream today? I hope it's not for some battles, because right now it seems like we might have to wait a hot minute for those to come in. But if you want some random questions to be answered, I am here. 27 quarters would be so heavy. Not that heavy, right? It'd be a bit heavy. It'd be like a block of metal about this big. Would you say that's like a kilo? I feel like 27 quarters would be less than a kilo. Okay, Winter Wind still juking it out. And do we have a message? No, we do not. Very unfortunate. Yes, welcome to the live stream, where we sit back, relax, and wait for matches. What's the most unfair map in Warhammer 2? Probably one of the siege maps. Although when you do set it to be a siege map, they give you less money, so maybe it's actually more fair than you think. Let's see, what would be a very unfair map? It'd have to be super advantage for one faction. So they need a really strong choke point. Let's see. The thing is, with the attacking rules, it's really hard to hold a choke point properly. In fact, most maps would just be flat out illegal on many of, because of the rule set that we use. It wouldn't 1/4 is 5.67 grams. You even added a 0 there for the oh geez, what? It's like significant digits or something, or what's it in science? Precision? I don't know. I feel like I should really know, but you know, you guys know what I mean. 153 grams then, alright. So not a kilo. Definitively not a kilo. And I guess that sort of makes sense. You know, those like sort of kilogram bars are actually pretty big. No camping in forest, but the whole map is forest. Then you both lose, yes. There are some maps that literally are just all forest. The Wood Elf maps are the main ones that sort of have that. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. We got Winter Wind versus Dr. Jellyfish. They are on Summer Song, which means that they're likely going to be on Tower of Hoeth next. So we'll go ahead and see if we can spectate this. Seems like we just finished Dark Elves vs. Bretonia. Who's up 1? Oh no, replays? Oh no, not like this. Winter Wind is at 0. And Jellyfish, Dr. Jellyfish is at 1. All right. Artisan is in your Discord. And you cannot restart your computer. What do you mean by that? Has their bad internet connection spread onto you? All right, apparently Lewin sort of glitching out hard today. Man, today's a strange day. Is this a terrible time to be hosting a tournament? Actually, now that I think of it, the tournament tomorrow is when Steam is getting up sort of its scheduled maintenance. So we might have some issues there too. That's terrifying. Significant digits is the correct term. Wonderful, I did it. I still remember science. Significant figures, all right, yeah, that works too. I feel like these comments are coming in a lot slower than when they're being typed out. It's like happening like a good few seconds after I mention it. But all right, so it looks like it's going to be a Lizardman dwarf pick from Dr. Jellyfish. Pretty strong selection. I think dwarves overall seem like they're actually pretty insane in this format. And that's probably an understatement too. Dwarves, no, they live on a knife's edge of being extremely strong or terrible based on their counters. Artisan's computer seems to have died. All right. Well, well, that's terrible. Hopefully you can go and get that fixed. Hopefully it's not permanent. I mean, and that there's no memory loss, because that would suck. That would absolutely suck with how much data we store on computers nowadays. That'd be devastating. But you know, hopefully it's just like a graphics card burned out or something. Actually, no, those are pretty expensive too. Hopefully just like, I don't know, a wire just popped out when it shouldn't have. I don't know. As long as Artisan didn't die, yes, that too. Alright, so we have a High Elves versus Lizardmen. Summer Song, indeed, a pretty good map for the two. Dr. Jellyfish, indeed, going for that Lizardmen pick, and let's see how it goes. I think overall, the High Elf bands, they might want to ban, you know, something like Mazdamundi, as he is one of the strongest Lizardmen lords in this matchup. And generally, they don't have many other lords that are extremely good here. This is escalating quickly, indeed. I think for the Lizardmen, maybe they want to ban Dragon Princes, maybe Sisters of Avalorn, but instead banning the White Lion Chariots. Not a bad choice. The Chariots, actually, Lizardmen are actually a pretty heavy infantry style of faction, and Chariots can punish their very elite Saurus warriors pretty hard. So I think it's a good choice. And Chameleon Stalkers gets banned. Not sure how often we see those guys, but they're definitely very strong. I think overall that's a pretty good choice. And pretty safe one too. And what is Dr. Jellyfish going to get rid of? I would say, if I had to hazard a guess, maybe Dragon Princes? Maybe Silverin. Both are pretty nice options. We have a Dowie lover and a Dowie hater in chat. I think that seems about right. The dwarves, the ultimate polarizers. They are very sort of all-in lore-wise as a faction. But okay, we see Shadow Warrior ban. Okay, now that one's a strange one. Shadow Warriors are not a super common sort of unit that you see in up against Lizardmen, unless I'm very mistaken. I feel like generally you don't have them, but maybe not. Maybe not. Ooh, bringing up the War of Vengeance, brutal. Kelligar. Also, both of your names are very fitting, I must say. But alright, so we have the Shadow Warrior ban. What will be the last Lizardmen ban? I would say either Chameleon Skinks, which is a pretty good choice, or possibly a Mazdamundi. Surprised not banning Larry. That actually would have been a pretty nice choice, actually. You ban a L'Ariel, maybe go for Mass Pterodons. That'd be pretty good. That would be pretty good. All right. All right, let's see. But the thing is, if you ban a L'Oreal, they can take other lords. I guess a L'Oreal is pretty crazy, but oh my gosh, he's banning the Bastiladon Ark of Sotek. What is this? Does this mean? Okay, let's consider the options here, right? Winterwind banned an anti-large unit, and you banned. What is this? He banned the Chameleon Stalkers and the Ark of Sotek. Now, Ark of Sotek, of course, is really good versus infantry. Maybe it has slipped into the meta without me realizing, in which case this does mean he can go all in on the elite infantry. It is pretty strong. I don't know if it's what you usually run in this matchup. Like, I feel like, you know, the usual sort of dragon princes and so on that the high elves can bring can be sort of pretty brutal against that, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the ultimate infantry buster. You know, monsters can take a long time to take down. I haven't tested Ark of Sotek against Silverin, but I don't think it does magic damage, so it would actually be really nice against elite infantry. But I personally haven't seen it a whole ton. Maybe I'm just a little bit out of the meta though. You don't like the Stalkers band? The Stalkers band is probably the strangest thing here. The High Elves generally don't have a ton of units that are super weak to Stalkers, especially because I think they do fire damage. And High Elves are known for their fire resistance on many of their units. So that's going to be a little bit sketchy, but still on Ark of Sotek, a little bit of a better ban. I feel like, you know, maybe there were better options there, but usually I like to give more credit to the players here, and maybe they have something in mind. As for Dr. Jellyfish, he banned White Lion Chariots, definitely a very nice one to take out those nasty, nasty blobs. And banning Shadow Warriors too, I feel like that one's a little bit more strange, but I think overall both sides will be happier going for more mid-tier infantry than usual. Still Solar Engine, Mazda Mundi. Yeah, Shadow Warrior ban is really weird because the Lizardmen can bring Chameleon Skinks. Now, it might have been a 5D play, guys. Might have been a 5D play. If you think about it, if he had banned Chameleon Skinks, then he could have actually run Shadow Warriors, right? So maybe that White Lions and Rangers take almost no damage from them. Yes, because of their loose formations. But we'll have to see how the bans come into play in this game. Potentially they have some big ideas here. And by big ideas, I do mean big, as we actually do have Imric here coming in on his dragon. Now, he went B weak against Stalkers anyways. He has very high fire resistance, but he's going to be a pretty scary threat against anything large on the Lizardmen side. There's tons of Lothern Seaguard too, some Spearmen, and a Mage of Life coming in with just regrowth. We know where that's going to be going. Meanwhile, a front line of White Lions all looks like a pretty well-rounded build. The Lizardmen, however, taking the advantage of the Pterodon Riders, not having to worry about Shadow Warriors, I guess. And actually quite a bit of infantry. These guys are quite nice because they don't have to worry about the chariots anymore. But will they have a rough time in the frontline engagement? If you take a look at Source Spears here, they have decent melee stats, and what they sort of do really well in a long grindy fight. But compared to White Lions, right? White Lions have basically the same stats actually. They do have martial prowess, which makes them better at the start of the fight. And also they have really nice armor piercing value, so I would expect the Source Spears to actually lose the frontline engagement, which means that the Lizardmen need to find some way of pulling an advantage, and in this case, the double Solar Engine going to be a really strong artillery force for the Lizardmen, but will it be enough? If you take a look over here, the two Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers are a decent counter to Solar Engines. It will take a bit of time, but overall, they generally will come out on top. And as for the Pterodons, they will be able to support a bit too. There are only two of them, and they're going to be trying to probably drop rocks on either the front line for the spears to push through, or potentially the Lothern Seaguard. The main problem though is that There are so many units of Lothern Sea Guard, all the way up to 5. I don't think this number of Pterodon riders can easily deal with them. And as the battle starts, the bolt throwers get their first initial volley off onto the solar engine. It does quite a bit of damage, but nothing that can't be healed up by Mazdamundi. As for Imric, he is in the air looking to try and potentially skirmish here. Maybe a breath attack, I'm not entirely sure. Does Mazdamundi have a net? He does. Now Imric, he doesn't take a lot of damage from the solar engine, so overall he's actually not too worried about being here. And oh my gosh, he just straight up drops the breath attack right on the solar engine, but a little bit of a dodge goes a long way, and actually it avoids most of the damage there. So Imric, not getting that much value. In fact, we can see exactly how much value he got. Only under 200 gold. So, you know, still a decent amount, but it's not like he's actually killing the solar engine by any means. I think it might have even gone a heal, I'm not sure. But at the moment, they are just continuing to fire. And we see they are focusing the bolt throwers. Now, solar engines aren't the most accurate thing in the world, but I've said that, and they've already killed 2 bolt throwers. So they could actually be a little bit of a problem here. Maybe the High Elves even want to advance, just to make sure that the solar engines aren't an issue. And Imric too, he is a pretty scary beast in the air, but taking a few volleys from those javelins, actually losing quite a bit of HP at the start of the battle. The bolt throwers though do manage to live, and the High Elves now begin advancing. They just want to be pushing forward so that their archers can start poking in and getting a bit of damage. But the bolt throwers, they have been reduced to, oh my gosh, just 2 models of bolt throwers. The 2 solar engines having doing quite a bit of work so far. Actually gonna be a little bit scary here. Just a little bit. There's not a lot to really counter them, and the High Elves are gonna have to push through this very chunky front line to get back into them. Now, one good thing for the High Elves is that there's not a lot of support on the Lizardmen side, aside from some cavalry. And that means Imric will probably be able to really shift the battle in the favor of the High Elves here, with the initial charge going very well on the sides of the White Lions. And look at that, the Dragon Horn actually being dropped, boosting their melee attack, shredding those poor Sora spears apart. All of them already down to half HP. That's really bad for the Lizardmen. The White Lions look like they will be actually able to push through, but Imric takes a huge volley from the Skink Javelins. And it seems like, oh, he's netted too, so actually no dodging from him, but it doesn't look like he will be going down despite the full salvo going into his back there. Mazdamundi taking the opportunity to push through too. But the White Lions, they're going to be a little bit of a threat. The cavalry instead choosing to engage the Lothern Sea Guard. We'll see if it ends up being worth it. Lothern Sea Guard do have anti-large, but it seems like they just barely didn't brace for the charge and take quite a bit of damage. Another unit of Cold Wind Riders coming to the back, and we'll be shutting down another unit of Sea Guard. And it seems like the Sea Guard, despite their anti-large, actually are going to be pretty scary. Imric though, fighting against Mazdamundi now, doing a lot of damage, getting pushed back, but the infantry advantage is definitely here for the High Elves. Mazdamundi going to be getting in, taking a lot of damage, but the solar engine support, giving the Helm of Discord debuff on Imric, should actually shift the fight in the favor of Mazdamundi. You can see his stats 50 and 30 something against Mazdamundi's 26 and 42. It's going to be a lot closer as long as the solar engines are shooting, and actually they are landing about 50% of their hits, and that causes Imric to very nearly go down to Mazdamundi himself, despite the infantry advantage. He's going to be routing off, but will there be anything to chase him off? It doesn't even matter. He gets sniped out by the solar engine, and it seems like Dr. Jellyfish will be taking this game pretty solidly. The solar engine's helping a ton in that big fight in the center. The cavalry absolutely shredding those Lothern Sea Guard, a lot better than I would have thought. And the High Elves are on the run. The caster too. There's really only one unit of White Lions left and a unit of Spears, but I think that's not going to be enough for the High Elves. And that's going to be it. High Elves are down. Yep, White Lions and Shadow Warriors. Honestly, I don't think Shadow Warriors would have done well against this build anyways. But banning the Chariots definitely was a good choice. Maybe some double mind game action going down there. And the solar engines did great. Mazdamundi took down Imrik with a really bad showing on Imrik this time around. The white lines did really good though. But it was really that back line getting shut down by 2 units of cavalry that really hurt the high elves there. GG's. Alright. I'll hop into the lobby. Alright, so since it seems like unfortunately our opponent has his PC just completely melted down, we will have to just move on without him. Always unfortunate, but it does mean that we have moved on to the finals. So that's going to be quite nice. So let's go ahead and submit our scores. Whoops. I accidentally did that wrong. There we go. So that means we're going to be moving up into the finals against Dr. Jellyfish. Let's go ahead and do it. Winterwind giving his support to Dr. Jellyfish. Not looking for vengeance this time around. We'll see if we can come out on top. Alright, so I'm thinking I want to try with some dwarf action. That should be quite exciting. I'm not feeling Tomb Kings as much as I was before. It feels like they have a lot of units that can get banned quite hard. But you know, maybe we'll go for some of the other suggestions that I saw earlier. Perhaps some greenskins, we'll see. And right now we just have to wait for the lobby to open up and then we'll be good to go. Come on, leave the lobby. I need to play so I can get some food. Ah, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Oh yeah, that's true. High Elves, they have been losing most of their games today. So let's see if we can pull it back. Hey. First map, Tower of Hoeth is set. Let's see what Dr. Jellyfish has in store for us. I'm expecting a... well, I actually have no expectations. Okay, so your pick first. Then ban first. Alright. Alright, what are we going for? I feel like High Elves is pretty nice. I feel like High Elves is quite nice. You know, we'll probably try and counter with them if we can. I feel like it can make them work. At least better than Tomb Kings. And then maybe we'll end it off with some dwarves if we can get it 2-0. Maybe we'll go into an ace match though, we'll have to see. Yeah, Mazdamundi is pretty brutal though. He does a lot of damage, he's insanely tanky. Overall, a very, very strong lord. Alright, Jellyfish. What do you got? Now we are fighting too for the defense of the grand $5 Canadian prize. He's gonna go Lizardmen and Dwarves. Will we go for the High Elf pick? Is it insane? Maybe. Maybe it is insane. You know what? I'm very tempted. You know, let's try with the High Elves. We just saw Dr. Jellyfish sort of just defeat the High Elves. So we're going to come on in and try and get some vengeance for them. I think I got some plans against the dwarves. He might ban my my elite infantry, but I got ideas. I have ideas. And he's thinking too. He doesn't have a set answer. Contemplating. Perhaps the dwarves? Oh my gosh, he goes for the Dowie. All right. And he's going to be banning units first. Let's see what he decides to target. Who is this guy named? Oh, yeah, it is. It's Enticity. All right, there we go. Whoops. Enticity. There we go. Name has been fixed. All right, so he's banning first. What will he be banning, and what shall we be banning? We have a few good options here. He's gonna ban White Lion Chariots. Definitely a good choice. You know, I might want to ban. You could ban Longbeards. You could ban Shielded Longbeards. A bit of a strange one, but I have an idea. Potentially Shielded Dwarf Warriors too. What else could we do? We could ban Quarrelers. That would be a pretty nice choice, actually. Let's see. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Ban Quarrelers. There we go. Let's see. Normal. All right. So that's our first ban. What will he target next? War Lions, ban Slayers, maybe. I have a plan, though. I have a plan. And he's going to ban a L'Oreal. Definitely a good choice. And I think for the second ban, I could ban Thunderers. Could ban Bugmans. It does sort of play my hand out in the open, doesn't it? We could also ban the organ gun, maybe. I feel like organ guns aren't that scary overall. Yeah, organ guns aren't that scary. We don't need to worry about them. And then for the next ban, you know, we could ban Slayers. We could ban Slayers, but I'm thinking perhaps the humble, maybe the humble Longbeard instead. Ban Longbeard normal. I feel like that's a decent choice. Dwarf Warriors don't scare me too much, so let's try it out. We've banned Quarrelers and we've banned Longbeards. What's the worst that can happen? I think there's no way this could possibly work against us. Alright, let's see what's going on in chat. We got some talk about cycle charging, I think. That is what chariots do. Alright, let's see if I can load up a good build here. I haven't played this matchup in a while, so potentially we might get caught off guard, but I'm feeling pretty confident here. Let's see, where is this high elf build? It's a really old one. I might have deleted it between patches. We'll see. Yeah, I think the build is gone, but I can remake it. We can make do. So for us, we don't have lion chariots and we don't have a L'Oreal. Not the worst thing in the world. We can definitely work around this. You heard lions love dwarves. They do. They do. Let's see. He didn't ban white lions of Trace. I feel like that's a good sign for us. Looks like he is ready though, so that's pretty scary. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good about this situation. You love a good dwarf axe to the face even more. Oh man. All right. I think ooh, actually, yeah. This feels like a pretty good build. All right. And then I can go ahead and take this for my caster. And yeah, overall the dwarves, they have a couple options against the high elves here, especially without chariots. They don't have to worry about their infantry dying as much, which is definitely to their advantage. Let's see, where is this caster? There they are. Yeah, so that's going to be helping out the dwarves. They also, of course, gyrocopters are always pretty scary. You always have to worry about gyros at least a little bit. And not only that, but the dwarves, well, really that's their main thing, right? They can go for sort of, usually, very often they're going to be defensive. Very, very often. Let's see, what other styles? Sometimes they go for iron breakers too. No, not iron breakers, hammerers to win the frontline fight. That can be really strong as the dwarves. But I think I do have a pretty nice build here. The map is quite nice for me. And in the end, it's just going to come down to how well we can play this out. I'm running a fairly micro-intensive build here. What did he ban? He banned a L'Oreal and Lion Chariots, yes. So my build that I'm running, it will be pretty micro-intensive. But overall, I think it is definitely a strong one. Whew, here we go. Here we go. I think I have everything I need. We simply have to dive on into the match now. Actually, I might want one more thing, actually, yeah. Yeah. This should work out much better. Oh, yes, yes, this is way better. Infinitely times better. All right. 10. All right, now we can dive on in. So, my plan for the dwarves in this match, I will be going for a kite build today. We'll see as soon as we load on in. This build, it's going to be mass archers with a couple of white lines to run intercept. So yeah, it's a little bit of a strange build, not exactly one that you see very often here, but it is actually fairly strong. The general idea is that most dwarves, they prepare for, you know, other threats, right? They'll have lots of infantry, and they don't usually have a lot of range to counterfire. Not only that, but I banned out the quarrelers, which means that this force should actually be really strong. And the biggest weakness is that you can actually run out of ammo after a prolonged fight. So I have to be pretty careful about that. His army is pretty small, which is good for me. And if he tries to chase my infantry, I'll have white lines in the way to hopefully punish any guys that try to get too spread out. Not only that, but I also have some Illyrian Reavers that are going to be taking to the flanks. They're there just to chase down any targets that route and to make sure that we are a little bit more efficient with our ammunition. No POR? What's POR? I have no idea what that is. Prince? Something about a prince? But anyways, this is the build. It's going to be a heavy kite style. We got our caster here with Tempest. Really nice against those gyrocopters. And then we're going to have some soul quench action to deal with any potential artillery. So to take a look at his army, we are going to see it is a pretty hefty front line here. And it seems like, yeah, we are going to have to kite this army as well as we can. So right off the bat, Elithanar, he's going to move on to the flanks. He wants to be punishing those Thunderers as best as he can. And then we're going to get our caster here to get those sweet soul quenches down the line too. The archers are going to be focus firing the Longbeard great weapons. I banned the shielded variant specifically so that I could get more damage with these guys, and I think that should pay off rather well. Ooh, some nice dodging from my opponent though. It's going to help him out a little bit, avoiding that damage. But with some nice sort of focus fire going on here, I'm going to be feeling pretty comfortable. Now my bolt thrower, it is going to have to be abandoned. There's no chance that that I can really hold the position with the way things are currently. As for the Thunderers, they are going to be holding their ground, and then I'm going to try and get that nice soul quench on them. Elithanar too has his moonbow, and look at that. Absolutely amazing soul quench. Deletes the Thunderers like it's no issue in the world. And this single unit of Iron Breakers, I'm going to have to pull away from them because they are very scary. As for the bolt thrower, let's go ahead and drop the artillery and pull them back. We do not want them to be getting into any issues. And then we're just going to pull apart and try and punish these Iron Breakers now. Now, we have a chariot here to support. These Thunderers in the back are going to be a little bit annoying. I do have the moon bow that I can cast on them, and I'm trying to bait out their firing on me. If I can get them to sort of shoot at me, that should help me out quite a bit. And we do have our units of cavalry too, waiting along the flanks to punish the dwarven forces. Let's go ahead and try and get a volley in here onto those Thunderers. A couple of my range guys can start getting some volleys in too. It looks like they're trying to turn, but with the crossfire of the archers, there is no safe place for them to turn towards. And I can even get a pretty nice soul quench on them too. So let's go ahead and try and do that. There's going to be a bit of an AoE on my Lothern Sea Guard, but they should be just fine. And another devastating soul quench. Amazing. Routing off those Thunderers like it is no issue. We just need the cavalry to get on in, and if they actually start routing off, then there we go. The cavalry can now begin chasing them. So overall, a really nice start for us today. Cavalry is going to move on in. Like I said, ammo conservation is oh so important here, as the dwarves have insane amounts of HP, and it's going to take a lot to actually get them out of here. As for the iron breakers, they're slow and not very mobile in the slightest, so I'm not worried about them. We just have to make sure that they don't get their blasting charges off, and we should be fine. As for these thunderers over here in the distance, I'm going to try and moonbow them. That should hurt quite a bit if we can actually land a shot. And as for these reavers, it looks like they're doing a pretty good job at chasing down the thunderers. Over here, the moonbow, getting those guys extremely close to routing. And my mage, she's going to start cycle charging the iron breakers. Over here, you can see they do get a few volleys off. Nothing too scary, and actually there's very little now to deal with my mage. These thunderers are running for the hills. They're going to get chased off by the cavalry, no problem in the slightest. And honestly, I'm pretty happy that I was able to showcase this kite build. It's actually a build that Zyphos used against me when I first joined ODM. And it's one that I enjoy a ton because it has tons of range units and your opponent basically can't do anything. What's not to love? Now, I'm going to turn off fire at will now, as I very much do not want my... I'm going to turn off fire at will because I need to save ammunition. We've successfully rotated though, which is super good for me. And we're just going to keep firing in onto these longbeards to try and start picking them off. The iron breakers, they might actually get a volley off, so I will have to pull back just a tiny bit and get my caster in there on her chariot to continue harassing those poor dwarves. And the kite continues. We should have another soul quench coming on in soon in just a second. And I can even get my white lions here to start fighting, as we do have a pretty nice advantaged position. And she's going to stand here now. She's going to line up the soul quench. I'm baiting out my opponent's iron breakers so that I can do this. And there we go, just like that. A huge soul quench on those iron breakers, followed by a charge. And the kiting continues. All right, my caster's doing pretty good here. My guys have taken a few blasting charges to the face, which does hurt a bit. I will be able to rout off a unit of dwarf longbeards though, which is quite nice. And that means that they're going to get chased off. I do have a very nice cavalry advantage, so it shouldn't be too hard at all to really deal with them. But a slow does come down on my caster, which is a little bit scary. Let's go ahead and try and save her. She's going to throw down a heal on herself, just in case. And then my cavalry is just going to get into position to start chasing off units. Those slayers too, taking an absolute beating from the archers. They're going to be down in just a second. And where's the Lithanar? He's over here, just continuing to kite, nice and comfortable. All right, now melee attack buff comes down for Thorek. That's going to be buffing up a lot of these iron breakers, and you know what? I'm just going to choose to disengage instead. And we're also going to get a moonbow on these warriors of Dragonfire Pass, since we can actually hit them lengthwise. And just like that, they take a huge amount of damage. And that's sort of the name of the game here. You're trying to get those really nice lengthwise shots down the dwarven formations, and just sort of avoiding their shields as best as you can. And now that the dwarves are sort of spread out, I can sort of get some nice crossfire here with many of my forces and sort of start taking engagements where I want, as I am way more mobile than my opponent. A huge blasting charge volley does hit my Lothran Seaguard though. That's going to hurt a little bit, but we have routed off these warriors of Dragonfire Pass. I'm going to chase them with the bolt thrower crew just to put them to shame a bit. These Norgrimlings are going to be a little bit annoying, as they will be able to sort of get some volleys in on my on those white lions a bit. But as they sort of line up to get another blasting charge volley, I should be able to punish them in the way we've been seeing the entire game. Another huge soul quench drops directly on top of them, and it's only a matter of time before we get the victory. I still have a lot of ammunition, which is really good for me. And let's see, where's that unit of cavalry? Here they are. We'll pull them over to... Oh, actually, they routed off to the Slayers, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. But I think we have more than enough firepower to win the game. Specifically, I've been saving ammo on Elithanar so that he can kill off Thorek in the late game if need be. And there we go. Time to just bring in the rest of the White Lions and do a little bit of cleanup. These Longbeards are unshielded. They're going to be my main target for the archers. And this unit of Iron Breakers, we'll just hit them with the cycle charges and probably a couple soul quenches. Now for my artillery, yep, the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass did come back. I was sort of counting on them not, but it's more or less fine. Elithanar is going to go ahead and start sniping out Thorek now. These Longbeards are going down rather quickly, and we'll hit these Iron Breakers with a good old Overcast Soul Quench. It'll do quite a bit more damage, and is really nice versus their very high armor. And actually, it looks like it did basically no damage. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but Thorek on his mount is a really large target, so at least he will be able, or will be able to pretty easily take him out. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are still alive, but not exactly an issue, and the Dwarves hit army losses just like that. So there we go. We still have tons of ammunition. What is there? Just, I think, a unit of Slayers in the far distance, but overall, we're good. Oh yeah, that's true. He can't see which unit is targeted. That makes things way harder for him. Yeah, but there we go. There we go. Really, really devastating shots with those spells. Which means we just have to win one more game, and then we'll be able to defend the prize and move it on over to the next tournament thing. Don't you love how low armor piercing archers can murder the heaviest armored units casually? Well, you know, it took about 10 units of archers to do it, but we got there. Where are those Slayers? I think they're somewhere in the forest. We'll have to go and explore for them. Yeah, the 1 AP damage for the win. Look at this. Amazing. They actually do have more armor piercing. They're not goblins. So, you know, they're hitting for 3 damage a pop. That's not terrible. Not terrible in the slightest. Let's go ahead and just kill Thorek, why don't we? Let's just finish him off just to show him who's boss. Let's see, how much damage do the Lothern Sea Guard do? Oh, they have 4 armor piercing. Look at that. Good for them. How's the game still going? It's, he has some Slayers in the back, but we should be able to deal with them rather easily. It's just a couple Slayers, unless my opponent has, you know, a million Slayers hiding away somewhere. We should be good. And Thorek taking 3 damage a time. 3 damage at a time. Will he actually go down? He does. That last volley of arrows finally finishes him off. There we go. Alright, GG. Now we move on to the final game. Let's see what, well actually this time we're picking, and our opponent will be counter picking. Alright, what's the map gonna be? The map is gonna be Karak Bufdar. Pretty nice. And I guess I will go for, I'll go for dwarves. I'll go dwarves and, you know, maybe chaos. Chaos could be fun. Let's see. You know what? Chaos could be pretty fun. Let's play some chaos. We haven't seen them all tournament. All right. GG. Volume of Fire is always a solid tactic. I love it. It's great. And I feel like even without the soul quenches, we probably would have been pretty fine. I had way more range units than my opponent there. Although it would have been much closer for sure. After those Thunderers were routed off, I was pretty confident. If you want to beat this style, by the way, you want a ton of Quarrelers, which obviously is easier said than done since you get countered by everything else that the High Elves can bring. Alright, yeah, blood for the Blood God, as usual, as is expected. As long as you don't have an undead mirror, there will be blood. But what will he counter with? We have dwarves and chaos, a decent combination. I'm sure there are some hard counters out there, but as we've established, dwarves are a menace in this format. So I think they should be able to do fine. Ooh, chaos is your favorite faction. Well, hopefully we don't play dwarves then. Want to know how to play them better? Well, skirmish cavalry is probably the biggest thing you want to be focusing on when you do play as chaos, as skirmish cavalry they really defend you against most of their weaknesses. And thankfully we have 3 variants, so he can't ban them all. That should be good. Alright, it is really too bad that our opponent's PC sort of melted, but I did get confirmation that his PC lives. Yeah, so Artisan Tech Priest, showing that his name is more than just a name, fixing up that PC, and it should be good for future tournaments. Ooh, what was the value on the mage? Darn it, I should have checked. Why didn't his PC break for you? Very unfortunate, man. We got saved by the bell, but you know, I wasn't able to avenge you, but his PC did rebel. Now we're up against greenskins, and you know what? I feel like going for chaos. You know, chaos is pretty fun here. Let's go ahead and try it out. Now, I was the one picking, so I get to choose what my opponent is won't be able to take. And I think we honestly have a lot of really good things here. Fanatics, always pretty annoying. We could get rid of them entirely. But is there like a really strong green skin unit that we could just delete off the battlefield? Like, I don't know, maybe skirmishers. What if we just make it where greenskins can't take skirmishers? Would that not be amazing? Just make it so they have to take mass archer. Honestly, that's pretty hilarious. But I feel like we could do better. I feel like we could do a bit better. Stone trolls maybe, but not really. Black orcs is a very good one. You know what? We'll start off with the black orcs. I think that's like a very solid base pick. Ban the savage orc big guns. I could. How do they compare to the normal big guns? They're basically the same. So I feel like it's a bit of a wasted ban. I feel like it's a little bit wasted. The single entities too are plentiful for the greenskins, which makes that side pretty scary. But we could ban stone trolls if we really wanted. I feel like that could actually work out quite well for us. Just make their front line insanely weak and try to win it from there. Bans a hell cannon, interesting. Let's see. Stone trolls are good. Ban Grom. I'm not too worried about Grom, as we have tons of fire damage. So let's see. We could ban the River Troll Hag. Now that would be something. Revert greenskins back to their old caster ways. But I don't think we really have to ban her. We could though. Let's see. You know what? We'll ban stone trolls. Ban stone trolls. There we go. Pretty standard bans. Now we can go ahead and swap on over to chaos and start throwing something together. We don't have hell cannons, so that's our main source of artillery gone, but I don't think that's the worst case for us. Make stone trolls worse as well. Oh, that's true. You'd have to take like a black orc big boss to make them work properly. Yeah, infantry fight should be really good for me. And he bans Archaon. Alright, Archaon is off the battlefield. So what are we going to do instead? I feel like we still have some pretty good options here, so I'm not too worried. The infantry fight, like you guys have said, should be pretty well advantaged in my favor. Let's see. What lord do I want? There's a couple good lords here. But I think I'll go for this one. How dare he ban the Everchosen? It's a shame. It's a shame for sure, but we will make do. Bring Kolek. Honestly, Kolek would be pretty fun. Honestly, Kolek would be pretty fun. No, maybe I got some shenanigans, guys. I think I have some shenanigans in store for you. So get hyped. Get hyped. Ooh, okay, yeah. I'm sort of liking where this is going. Sweet. So he banned Archaon and what? Archaon and a Hell Cannon. So my front line should win. If my front line loses, I have no comments for my forces here. He could very well go for a lot of infantry too. I guess that would be a little bit scary. Let's see, but honestly, I'm not too worried. If he picks Wintertooth in this tournament, you can ban the only 2 lords he has. That's hilarious. Yes, Phoenix King. You know what? If someone goes Wintertooth, they deserve to lose. Just straight up. Oh my gosh, that really is hilarious though. Yeah, some factions get hit harder by this format than others, but it is a for fun format. Alright, so I think I have a pretty chunky front line. I'm quite happy with it. Let's see. You know what? I have enough to fit these guys in too. Of course, you could have a few fanatics. As usual, they will be a little bit annoying, possibly scary, but I believe we shall be fine. Big guns, of course, too, can be quite a threat, and I'll need some way of dealing with them. I think I have a fairly good solution for myself, which means it just comes down to just playing out the match. Let's see, now if he has a ton of mobility, will I be okay? It's a little bit of a scary call, whether or not we'll be able to do well against mass mobility. But I think we're in a good enough situation. You know what, let's just try it out. Let's just try it out. Oh man, this build is sort of sketchy. It's sort of sketchy, guys. I don't know if it's actually that good. You know what? Let's cut these guys. Let's cut these guys and add in, oh yeah, some of these guys. There we go. Now we're ready. Oh my gosh. This is a build. Better see some chosen great weapons or riot. I feel like they're just gonna get hard countered though. You know, maybe, oh man, if I had extra money, I would, man. Or maybe I already have them in and I'm bluffing. Honestly, it's a pretty vanilla build. It's pretty vanilla. From Jellyfish, I'm expecting probably some trolls. Yeah, probably just some trolls. Well, and we won't have stone trolls though, which means that he's in like much worse shape than usual. Stone trolls are just so cost efficient. To go to normal ones, it's terrible. River trolls, oh yes. Yes, the mighty river troll. I have not seen river trolls in multiplayer ever. Not even before the DLC came out, like when people were experimenting with the pre-release patch. River trolls just, man, I feel like if they just gave them like a bigger melee attack debuff, they could actually be really good. But instead, they're just sort of sad. They're really expensive and they rout super easily. It's unfortunate for them for sure. Now, he banned the Hell Cannon. I'm not entirely sure why he did that, but I guess we'll see in just a second. My army, gonna be a nasty frontline push army. We got our skirmishers over here. And then we have, as usual, double Manticore. We got Kolek and we got a caster for fire. So this is like pretty vanilla. There's nothing super crazy going on here, but I did bring Kolek. And the double Manticores plus him, they should be able to win any monster. Like, they should kill any monsters so fast. I bought his Star Crusher too. Should boost his damage up to 1,000,000. We'll be hitting for like 700 damage a pop. And then even if he has a ton of archers, we should be able to just push through the front line. If we do see a lot of fanatics, Burning Head will make quick work of them. So I'm not worried on that front. And this core for anti-skirmish is usually enough. Against the greenskin skirmisher force, even if he brings 6, I'm still feeling pretty comfortable. Now his army is fairly large compared to mine, so let's see how it does. You've seen the swamp things? I've never seen any of them really. But what does he have? He has Grom the Paunch, he has a Goblin Big Boss, River Troll Hag, some skirmishers over here. We can move in for the counter skirmish. Once my infantry are lined up, we simply march forwards and then we're good to go. First things first, so these guys need to get into position. Really want to defend against these Goblin Wolf Riders. My infantry's ready, they're going to be moving on up. And then the Manticores are going to be progressing too. want to get a little bit of dodging in just to make sure that we're sort of trading evenly here. I don't want any damage on either side of the battlefield. And the double manticores, they should be able to do quite well for themselves. So these guys, looks like they're moving back into position. We're going to feign a dive forwards. See if we can get a little bit more dodging action here. Nice, we even trade upwards, getting in a nice amount of damage. And I'm going to see if I can hunt Grom the Paunch. He should be a pretty easy target to shut down. There we go. We push him out from behind the rock, and that means that my Fire Sorcerer can probably start spamming out some fireballs towards them. That will get a decent amount of damage. As for the Manticores, they want to be hunting down Grom too. And I could pop the Goblin Rock Lobbers, but I don't feel like that's really super necessary. I think I can do without, since we are just rushing. So it's not super important that, that we really go and deal with that. As for Grom, I'm going to go for that Fireball Snipe, as the battle is about to get underway. It looks like he is taking cover, but will the Fireball connect? He's going for the jukes, he's going for the hill, and he gets slammed in the face. Quite a bit of damage. My skirmishers have taken a little bit of heat themselves though, which is always a little bit unfortunate, but once we get into the frontline fight, there's basically just a couple Savage Orcs. I'm not particularly worried about that by any means. As for the Forsaken, they've gone a little bit ahead of themselves, so I'll just pull them back. Spirit Leech is going to be dropping on my caster. I'm not too worried about that. And we're going to pop another Fireball on Grom. My skirmishers are getting pretty low, but the frontline fight is about to get underway. We have a pretty nice charge angle here. Grom gonna be... oh wow, it hit the unit of chariots instead. So Grom will get to live to see another day. Some night goblins over here too, and I want to make sure that they don't get those nasty fanatic bombs on me. We just want to make sure that our front line is getting engaged nice and cleanly. Forsaken are going to dive on in. My caster is going to get into position. These are simple Savage Orcs. We're not too worried about that. A couple Night Goblins moving on in too. And let's see if we can nail these Burning Heads. This one should be a really nice one, because it's right on top of everything here. But the Goblins, they do manage to dodge it. That's going to be really nice for them. The Savage Orcs having a little bit of a harder time. We managed to, those guys are going to be routing off very soon. The Manticore is trying to get as much damage in on the Goblins as they can. I'm going to push away with my infantry to make sure that they don't take fanatics to the face. It was a good call. And then the Manticores are going to pull forwards to try and sort of help support this single entity fight that's going on here. There's a ton of cavalry that just dived on in, but I do have my infantry here, so I think I should be okay. My skirmishers are having a really rough time though. These Forsaken can sort of block the infantry, and hopefully from here with Kolek's help, I should be able to sort of hold here. I really want to be killing off Grom. He has popped all of his buffs, but I do have another Burning Head on the way, and I think this should go well. Let's go ahead and overcast it to make sure I'm using all of my Winds of Magic. And as for Kolek, he wants to dodge these skirmishers before he routes off. Come on, Kolek. Not like this. Not like this. Oh, he takes a Spirit Leech. He's getting huge leadership debuffs, but we have surrounded Grom, and he's going to go in on the River Troll Hag. I'm going to try and push back the skirmishers with my infantry. They should be able to do quite well. Kolek's trying to get in as much damage as he can, especially on that River Troll Hag. I don't want her to Spirit Leech Kolek to death, but he does actually rout, and that's going to be a little bit scary. For the River Troll Hag, though, I do have my two Manticores. They will be able to do pretty well. Kolek might even survive a little bit longer too, but I have to make sure that Grom doesn't cause too many issues. The River Troll Hag will be going down in just a second to the Manticore. There we go, she does rout, which means I can now charge into Grom, who no longer has the lucky banner, and I might be able to sneak a victory here. Kolek, though, running for the hills, that definitely has me a little bit worried, but that Manticore doing great against the River Troll Hag. I still have a ton of infantry, so I think we've managed to pull through. Grom is now running off the battlefield. There are still a ton of greenskin skirmishers, but shouldn't be too scary here in the last phase of the battle, and it really is just these Orc Boar chariots that I really have to worry about. Manticore coming back too. He's going to be great against Grom, who just died, so I don't really need the Manticore anymore. And it seems like the greenskins are getting pushed into army losses. And I think we've done it, guys. I think we've done it. We'll be able to win the game to defend the $5 prize, which means I will be hosting another. Don't give the bots ideas. Oh, whoa, look at that. Look at that. The bots are in chat. Yo, am I popular enough to get Slanesh bots? That's so cool. Do we have mods in chat? Rusty, can you ban those bots? But anyways, there we go. That's a pretty nice win. I'm going to see if I can ban these bots now. Okay, there we go. I think someone's on it. Sweet. So yeah, pretty nice. Kolek he was surprisingly bad actually. Man, poor Kolek. He's seen better days. The Firecaster did amazing though. Grom took tons of damage, and after the Manticores dived in, it was a pretty set win from there. The infantry advantage was really nice. Not having to worry about Blackworks was amazing. And then yeah, that's just gonna be it. So cool. That's the tournament done now. I'll go ahead and report the score. And for the next bonus tournament, you guys should be expecting a sort of interesting pick and ban system. I've been trying to figure out a pick and ban system that is fair and doesn't take forever. And the way it works is that both players pick a faction, thus giving you 30 different matchups. One player bans 15 matchups, and that makes sure that the very middle one is the most even. I explained that terribly, but we'll have one of those tournaments later. I'll see if I can think up a better explanation. And before we end off, I would like to give special thanks to all of the members that support the channel, all of the wonderful patrons that also support too. Oh, it's all mini now. There we go. All the wonderful patrons. That being, come on, let's see if I can do this right. There we go. All the wonderful patrons. Lore Master of Sotek, Brandon Wagner, Bunny Arquette, AC Maiden, Biblington, J Phoenix, Alex Macabre, and Jack. Thank you very much, guys. All of you for supporting. Thank you for the ones watching, and Lore Master of Sotek too, in partnership with his Lorebeards podcast all about Warhammer. He'll be sending players to the ladder, and I'll be sending you guys over to that podcast if you're interested. So I think that's everything I needed to cover. So thank you very much, guys, and I hope to see you tomorrow for the Ranked League Champions. Where's my webcam?